Jacksonville, Florida, April 27, 2016. A woman named Myra Martinez shows up to her first day of work at a gentleman's club called Scores on University Boulevard. By the end of that same day, she will be handcuffed, beaten unconscious on camera, left on the floor of a jail intake corridor for nearly 15 minutes without a single person checking whether she was still breathing, and the officer most responsible for putting her in that condition will be the one authorized to deny her an ambulance. This video contains two recorded statements given by Officer Nathan Vickery of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. The first is an internal investigation interview conducted by JSO's own integrity unit within days of the incident. The second is a sworn deposition taken on March 2, 2020, nearly 4 years later, as part of a federal civil rights lawsuit. Both recordings are real, both are on the record, and together they tell a story about an arrest that almost certainly never should have happened, a report that was written to hide what actually occurred, and a chain of supervisors who, when given the opportunity to act, chose to look the other way. Pay close attention to the moments when the answers get vague, because that is exactly where the story gets interesting. What you're watching right now is Officer Nathan Vickery speaking to detectives from JSO's own Integrity and Special Investigations Unit. This is not a public interview. This is not a press conference. This is an internal criminal investigation, meaning the department believed there was enough evidence of a potential crime to assign its own detectives to investigate its own officers. The Integrity Unit is separate from Internal Affairs. Internal Affairs handles policy violations. Integrity handles potential crimes by officers. So when you see this interview, understand what it represents. This is not routine. The fact that Integrity was called in at all means someone, somewhere inside JSO, believed a crime had been committed. Listen to Vickery describe the moment he made the decision to leave Officer Borisade, the officer he had already witnessed punch Myra Martinez approximately 8 times in the parking lot, alone with her in the Sally Port while she was still handcuffed.
So you take the hobble off, do you give it back to Borisade, or you held
I
on
actually
to
went and put it in his car. I told him, I said, hey, I'm going to place it in your car. I did.
So now it's coming close to, I'm guessing if you're saying you guys get there 5:30, you have the deployment around 7 o'clock. Tell me about the determination for you to leave and him to stay with Ms. Martinez.
Well, I told him, I said, I have a robbery appointment to be on at 7. I'm already late, and I hate being late for those things. But I just said, you're the second arresting officer on the docket. I said, would you mind staying? You can sign the docket. And he said, yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Go do your thing.
Gotcha.
So.
And when you left them, how was she acting while standing in the Sally Port waiting to be admitted into the jail?
Man, I wasn't there long. I don't remember her acting out at all.
Okay.
But I wasn't there very long to watch or observe.
He wasn't there long. He had a deployment to get to, and so he handed off a handcuffed woman to the same officer who had just beaten her, and Officer Vickery himself would later tell investigators he had concerns about. That phrase, not there very long to watch or observe, is going to matter, because what happened to Myra Martinez in that Sally Port after Vickery left is among the most disturbing pieces of police accountability footage ever captured on camera inside an American jail. We will get to that. For now, understand that Vickery is being asked here to justify a decision he made while still on duty, and his justification is essentially this: he had somewhere else to be.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, you were not there for the entire incident that led up to the altercation between...
No, sir.
Because you had already left at that time.
Yes, sir.
Were you concerned about any of the use of force at the parking lot?
Yes, sir.
What concerned you?
There's quite a few punches thrown.
Okay. And when you say quite a few, what are you talking about? The areas that the punches were thrown to?
No, the number.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a lot of punches, more so attempting to control her arm and detain her.
Okay.
Now we get to the part of this interview that should have set off every alarm in this building. The detective asks Vickery directly whether he was concerned about the force used in the Scores parking lot, and Vickery says yes. He says there were quite a few punches thrown. He says it seemed like a lot. What he is describing in understated language to an internal investigator is witnessing a fellow officer beat a handcuffed woman on the ground approximately 8 times. Under Florida law, a law enforcement officer who observes a fellow officer using excessive force has a legal duty to intervene. That doctrine comes from Section 1983 civil rights liability established in federal case law going back decades. It means that standing by and watching while someone is beaten is not a neutral act. It is a choice, and that choice can make you just as legally liable as the officer doing the hitting. Vickery did not intervene. He did not stop it. He placed his knee on Martinez's back and tried to call for backup on a radio that wasn't going through. And when she was finally handcuffed and placed in his patrol car, he drove her to the jail, and then he left.
So you're concerned about the number of punches thrown, not the area they were thrown.
A lot of the ones that I saw were mainly to the back and side. It seemed like a pain compliance, but I think a combination of the number and then where they were thrown could have concerned me, such as you throw a few punches to the back or whatever, and to give a little pain compliance, and to get her hand removed is fine. Continuous side back, I think, is what kind of triggered
a little concern for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but when he's striking her or punching her, the handcuffs were correct?
They were not on yet,
okay.
Yes, sir.
And she was not compliant. She was still resisting you guys' demands for, give me your hands, give me your hands.
I had her left hand with the cuff behind her, but the right arm was not.
Right. The strikes was probably to get her to, I guess, take her hand from in front of her to surrender to you guys' instructions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said it was in the back and in the side.
Okay.
Did you tell someone that about the strikes?
I called Sergeant Weeks
Okay.
about the time I went into the robbery deployment.
Yes, sir.
I just called him real quick, just a quick concern and a heads up.
And what was your concern?
Basically what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I just said, there was, I just said I want to talk to you about something, and he asked just kind of briefly, what, and I said, with the incident and the arrest that we were just on, and I said, and I just said, with force and stuff used, and he said, "Oh, you talking about with Officer Borsade?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "I'm fully aware of it, but thank you for contacting me."
Okay.
The gist of.
So Vickery calls his supervisor, Sergeant Weeks, around 7 o'clock that evening. He describes this call as a quick concern and a heads up. What does Sergeant Weeks say in response? He says he's fully aware of it. That response is going to become one of the most disputed pieces of evidence in this entire case, because at that exact moment, Myra Martinez was being beaten a second time inside the Sallyport by the same officer. And Sergeant Weeks may have been referring to that incident, not the parking lot at all. Vickery later admitted under oath that the two of them could have been talking about two completely different incidents without either one of them knowing it. Think about what that means. The primary arresting officer who witnessed a beating called his supervisor to flag it. His supervisor said he already knew, and it is possible neither of them was talking about the same event. That is the kind of institutional failure that a $92,500 settlement and a public apology from a sheriff cannot fully repair.
And that was about 7 o'clock, right before you went into your stakeouts.
It was. I was still a few minutes late,
No
5,
problem.
10 minutes late, so it was somewhere around there, just after 7 maybe.
And you notified him by phone.
Correct, yes, sir.
And like we said, you did the docket, he did the narrative, you guys both read it and approved it. Tell me your opinion of looking at the video. Was it the same as the concerns that you communicated to Sergeant Weeks?
There were some things that were missed on
Okay.
my end that I didn't see. I don't know if it was adrenaline or maybe the few times that I looked up to the radio and contact, to call for backup. But there were some more that I didn't see, that I didn't communicate to him at first.
Okay.
Here is where the interview takes a significant turn. The detective shows Vickery the parking lot dashcam video, a video captured by a passing motorist, not by JSO, and asks him whether what he sees on screen matches what he reported to Sergeant Weeks. Vickery says there were some things he missed. He says he didn't see Borisad push Martinez's face into the ground while it was happening. He says he thinks his mind was just elsewhere, that he was focused on the radio. Then the detective asks him what he thought when he saw it on video. And Vickery says it was tough to watch, even being a buddy of mine. He says he disagrees with what Borisad did. And then watch what happens next, because the Integrity Unit detective's response to all of this is not what you might expect from someone conducting a criminal investigation.
But all in all, and look, I'm not here to, what am I trying to be the moral police, okay?
Yes, sir.
You guys are taking a person into custody who you guys had to respond to because of her level of intoxication, and she's not being compliant with her supervisors who terminated her and asked her to leave the premises. So as a result, you guys respond. While affecting an arrest, at some point, you guys were not able to get both handcuffs on. So, was there any other concerns that you had other than the amount of strikes that was used? Was anything said, anything racially, anything derogatory?
Nothing that I heard from him, no, sir.
Okay. Did he ever, and I know you said you was yelling, calm down, give me your hands. Did you hear him yelling anything? Was anybody yelling, stop resisting?
I don't want to tell you yes because I'm not 100%.
Right.
You know, so.
When did you complete your RTR report?
Yesterday, last night.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you watch the video of the Scores parking lot prior to completing your RTR?
I did, yes, sir.
Did you reference anything from the video to base your narrative for the report?
As far as...
Or was it independent?
No, I really went into the RTR as independent as possible. I mean, I'm not going to say that, seeing the video. You know, I saw the video,
right,
but
yeah.
I went in thinking from the time of the incident.
Okay.
You know, looking at
You said you actually missed some things on that you seen on the video that you missed. I guess
the time that happened.
Right, exactly what you're talking about.
I think there was a point where he actually pushed her face or whatever into the ground.
Okay.
Maybe once, maybe a couple times.
Okay.
And I didn't see that at the time that it happened.
Okay. I'm trying to. All right. I want to ask this correct. So basically, what you're saying you missed was him pushing her head into the ground. What was the reason why you think he would have done that?
Man, I wish I could tell you.
Okay.
I really do. I don't know.
How many fights have you been in your life? Physical fights?
Oh, man. I haven't been in any off-duty or any outside of the course of the job.
Okay.
And during the course of the job with corrections in here, man, I don't know, 5, 6 maybe.
So, and all the fights you've had, are you starting now to notice the tunnel vision you get?
Absolutely. I still struggle with tunnel vision when fighting out.
We all do. We all do. It's
human nature.
That's the body.
Yeah.
Right, that's the body. And, I mean, you got the SWAT guys, they train themselves how to fight it and do a lot better job as us who don't get that training. But because what I'm trying to decipher was, did you miss what you didn't see on the video because you just didn't want to see it, or is it because, hell, you guys are both boogieing and trying to take care of business to get her to stop resisting?
No, sir. I think it was straight adrenaline.
Okay.
There's just some things that I just missed, and when I look back at the video, I know when he pushed her head into the ground, I was trying to communicate over the radio at that point. So I think with just holding her down, trying to communicate over the radio, I think my mind was just elsewhere, and whether I just didn't see it,
okay,
or it didn't register. Or, no.
And so you never even noticed that until the video.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
What'd you think when you seen it on video?
It was tough to watch. Yeah, even being a buddy of mine.
Okay. Do you agree, disagree, or
disagree?
Okay.
What you are about to hear is a detective from the Integrity Unit, the unit specifically assigned to investigate potential crimes by officers, spending the next several minutes consoling the witness, validating the use of force, and explaining away the head slam as a product of tunnel vision and insufficient training. He tells Vickery not to second-guess himself because it could get him killed. He tells him the outside world doesn't have the courage to do what officers do. He tells him that when you slam someone's head on a mat, it may not look as hard as when you slam it on pavement, as though the softer optics of training mats are somehow a mitigating factor in a criminal investigation. This is not interrogation technique. This is not investigative strategy. What you are watching is a JSO detective using an official criminal investigation to provide moral cover to a witness in a case where that witness, by his own admission, watched approximately 8 punches land on a handcuffed woman and said nothing until a video surfaced online. This speech, more than almost anything else in this footage, explains why the outcome of this case looked the way it did.
And like I said, you know something? First of all, because I can see you getting emotional. Because like I said, this was emotional for a bunch of us. Because I'll be the first to tell you, you guys, I commend you for what you do. I think the world of what you do. And you don't have a lot of heroes that will sign up to do what we did. So first things first, don't you ever second guess yourself on this job, because that'll get you killed. Okay, we can do all this Monday morning quarterbacking that we want to do, and the outside world can do the same thing, but they don't have the balls to sign up to do what we did. All right, so you guys stand up for that and understand something. When you get into these kind of situations, it can turn very ugly very fast. And I guess in your training is why they tell you, let's get this crap over as fast as possible. And a lot of times, when we see people that are smaller than us or bigger than us, it might get us to react differently. I will ask you a question from your training to now actually you see it on the streets, because you're no longer in a sterile environment. You don't get to land on a mat when you're on the ground fighting somebody. You guys are landing on hard pavement. So if you slam somebody's head on the mat, it may not look as hard. When you slam somebody's head on the pavement and you see it from a dash cam, it looks bad. What didn't you notice on that dash cam? Tell me what you didn't see on that dash cam.
I did not see.
Yeah.
Fight before.
Absolutely.
The reason why we took her to the ground.
Correct. Do you see her flailing the handcuff to strike you guys? You're not going to see that, because, yet again, vantage point, and yet again, it's when somebody decided to start filming it. So that's what we do. Okay, we'll sit here and be the Monday morning quarterback, but I don't ever want you or any of the officers out there working doing anything excessive. But at the same time, you guys got to handle business, because if not, you'll end up getting hurt. Okay, and you got to remember that. So that's not what's being seen. And the head slamming, yeah, you might not agree with it, because when we start looking back at it and now we get to see it in a different light, while you're calm, there's no tunnel vision. Hey, I can't tell you why he did what he did, okay? But I would tell you, when you're in a fight, things happen, okay? And sometimes they tell you in the academy, revert back to your training, okay? You guys been on 2 months, okay? So other than the academy, what other training did you have to deal with this stuff? You don't have that, okay? So sometimes people revert back to fighting and doing what they would normally do. You get up and you get her up and she kicks at you. When she kick at you, I guess you said something earlier about you trying to push her hands up. Remember?
Oh, yeah, that was afterwards, and I was trying to transport her to the car.
Okay.
Just kind of, yes, sir.
So when she kicks you, what happens then?
Stand her up, she kicks. I think at that point I just really tried pulling her to the car. I think it was just, get her in the car and get her secure.
Did you notice Officer Borsati slamming her head in the car?
No, I didn't notice any of that. I remember grabbing her and pulling her to the car.
Okay.
And putting her in. I honestly don't remember, no, sir.
So you told me earlier in the interview there was a time that she tried to back kick you, or mule kick you.
When we stood her up, yes,
right.
Sir.
And then there was one that she did kick you, and she possibly contacted you.
I'm not sure where we're getting to on that. I know she was kicking when we were originally trying to get her handcuffs, and she was originally stood up before she was on the ground.
Okay.
I know she was kicking. And then she mule kicked when I had her stood up in handcuffs and was about to take her to the car.
Okay.
I remember by video that making contact, but I think that was strictly from video. I don't remember anything
The
at the
your
time of
adrenaline
seeing.
was rushing.
Absolutely, I don't remember feeling
That's
anything if she
understandable.
actually did.
Yep. And this is what happens. Trying to think what else. Yeah, because I know the RTR report was a little bit different than the arrest report.
I think just taking time to have everything settle in and, getting, well, not getting much sleep over it,
Right.
but, kind of laying in bed and just thinking things start coming together for
Right.
me again.
Did you disagree with anything that was written on the narrative of the arrest report? Was there anything left out? Was there anything that should have been added?
I think I looked over at them and I made some corrections. As far as I think you put in there at one point that she kicked us, and I said, you know what, man, I don't remember actually getting kicked. I don't want to put that
Right.
because I don't remember getting kicked. So it was little things like that. But as far as disagreeing with, yeah, I didn't have any questions like, why'd you put this in
Right.
here? I just remember saying, I'd rather not put that in there because I don't necessarily remember getting
Right.
kicked, so I don't want to put that in.
Right. Yeah.
This moment is critical, and it is easy to miss if you're not listening carefully. Vickery tells the detective that he reviewed Borsade's narrative for the arrest and booking report at the Sallyport. He says he made a correction. He asked Borsade to remove a line about Martinez kicking them because he didn't specifically remember it happening. The detective points out, and give him credit for saying this plainly, that Vickery actually took out something that actually happened. In other words, Vickery used a lack of personal recollection as the standard for what should and should not appear in an official police report, and the result was that an arrest report became less accurate after his review, not more. Now keep in mind, Vickery is the primary officer on this arrest. That report goes out under his case. He didn't write the narrative, Borisade did, speaking in Vickery's first person, but Vickery reviewed and approved it. What is missing from that narrative? Any mention of strikes to Martinez's side, any mention of Borisade touching her head, any mention of the concern Vickery himself had already told his supervisor about by phone. The document that is supposed to serve as the official record of this arrest was reviewed by the primary officer, edited for accuracy, and still managed to leave out the most serious uses of force that occurred.
So you take out something that actually happened. Now that you look at the video,
I mean,
you see what I'm saying? But
yeah.
it's just because, yet again, you perception, vantage point, but also too, you're now after the environment where you're fighting someone versus you being in an environment an hour and a half later completing the report.
Yes, sir.
Now you're in a sterile situation. She's in the backseat of the car. You know, you're up front. You got an opportunity to breathe, probably get something to drink. So you actually took something out that actually happened. So yet again, so sometimes when you write RTR, if you look at the video, or when you write the arrest report, sometimes we don't want to embellish, we don't want to put things in, but yet you took out something that was pertinent. But it's understandable because you don't remember. Exactly. And a lot of times you won't remember until you see a video. So what we're just trying to do is make sure that we clear that video up.
Absolutely.
So, because like I said, just like the news media, they get to see a snippet of what happened at the Sally Port. And like the only thing we get to see from the dash cam is what someone provided. But like I said, we don't see a whole bunch of the fighting before y'all go to the ground. We don't see her flailing and swinging with one handcuff on and you trying to wrestle her to get another hand. We don't see all of that. So sometimes it's a small picture of an actual big story.
Yes, sir.
The last thing the integrity detective asks Vickery before wrapping up is this. You saw Borisade push Martinez's head toward the ground on the video. Why didn't you document that in your RTR report? And Vickery's answer is, in its own way, the most honest thing he says in this entire interview. He says he was trying to be really careful. He didn't want to come across as saying he saw something when he really wouldn't have. He didn't want to put anything in there that he didn't think he would have seen at the time. That is a reasonable instinct. That is actually how police reports are supposed to be written, based on what you personally witnessed, not what you saw on video after the fact. The problem is that Vickery had already witnessed 8 strikes in real time, strikes he admitted concerned him, and none of that concern translated into a complete, accurate report filed within the required shift window either. So the standard of strict personal recollection only seemed to apply when it resulted in less documentation, never more.
When you watch the video from the dash cam that you saw from the scores, and you said you noticed him slam her head or push her head into the ground, was there any reason you didn't document that as a part of your RTR narrative?
From the video, I'm getting up and getting on the radio. Like I told you before, I was trying to document as much as possible of what I got from the incident, from the time that happened, and I'm sure the video played a role in kind of what refreshed my memory.
Okay.
But because of the way I was on the radio and looking up, and I don't think that refreshed my memory. I think that was something that I strictly got from the video.
Okay.
And I was trying to be really careful what I put in it because I don't, I didn't want to come across as, like I saw something when I really wouldn't have. Just the way, I was sitting up and looking away trying to get over the radio.
Okay.
I just didn't want to put anything in there that I didn't think I would have
that you
seen
didn't
at the time.
Independently
Yes, sir.
recall from your knowledge or based on the video. And in the future, if that does happen, okay, because it's just like when we testify in court and stuff like that,
Yes, sir.
there's things we recollect, and then there's things that I don't recall, but according to the video or the interview, this is what was said.
Okay.
So you may want to document that way, like, hey, look, I don't remember this happening, but after seeing the video, this happened.
Yes, sir.
So
The Integrity Unit interview you just saw took place within days of the incident. What begins here is the sworn deposition of Officer Nathan Vickery, recorded on March 2nd, 2020, nearly 4 years later. A deposition is formal sworn testimony taken outside of court, recorded by a court reporter in the presence of attorneys for every party in a civil lawsuit. Vickery is under oath. Every word he says here can be used in court. And unlike the Integrity Unit interview, where a sympathetic detective helped him frame everything charitably, here he is facing attorneys who have spent 4 years reviewing every document, every report, every inconsistency. The plaintiff's attorney, Kirby Johnson, along with civil rights attorney John Phillips, have a copy of the arrest report. They have the RTR. They have the dashcam video. They have the Integrity Unit recording you just watched, and they're going to walk through all of it, one piece at a time. Listen to how Vickery's answers begin to shift as the specificity of the questioning increases.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Good morning, Officer Vickery. Will you please state your full name for the record?
Nathan Harrison Vickery.
Thank you. And now, is it Officer Vickery, is that correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Officer Vickery, have you reviewed anything prior to today's deposition?
I have.
Okay, and what have you reviewed?
The arrest docket, the RTR, the video of integrity interview, the video of the parking lot, and my previous deposition.
Fair enough. Now I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk to you more specifically about what we're here to talk about, and that is the incident that occurred within the Scores parking lot on or about April 27th, 2016. Are you familiar with this incident?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you from questions. I want you to answer them from your perspective, okay, from what you can recall.
Okay.
Officer Vickery, when were you first notified of the, when were you first told that you needed to go to Scores or dispatched to go to Scores?
Would have been the day of by our dispatch via radio.
Okay. Do you recall approximately what time that may have been?
I couldn't give you a time.
Okay. And I think, so just to be clear, you received a call from dispatch, and do you remember the signals that dispatch rang out to you?
I read them from that sheet.
Okay. And what were the signals that were given from dispatch?
The actual number signals, 63 is how it came out.
63. And what does a signal 63 mean?
Dispute.
Okay. Was there also a signal 2?
Yes, sir, in the comments.
Okay. And what is a signal 2?
A drunk person.
Okay. So from the dispatch call, you were aware that you needed to go to Scores because there was an impaired, well, were you aware that there was an impaired or intoxicated person there at the time?
Just from the dispatch screen.
Just from the dispatch screen. Okay. And you were aware that there was a dispute going on?
Yes, sir.
Is there a signal for a trespass?
Now there is, not then.
Okay. How would you have signaled a trespass?
Then,
Yes.
it all came under 63, so under dispute.
Okay.
The first thing the deposition establishes is the legal foundation or lack of one for this arrest. Vickery was dispatched to a Signal 63, a dispute, and a Signal 2, meaning an intoxicated person. He was not dispatched to a trespassing call. There was no signal for trespassing at JSO at the time. He arrived at Scores to find Myra Martinez sitting quietly on a curb outside the building, not screaming, not throwing things, not a threat to anyone. She was sitting, and within minutes of arriving, without ever speaking to a single employee or manager of Scores himself, he was being told by Borisade that management wanted her trespassed. That conversation with management happened inside the building while Vickery was outside with Martinez. He never verified it, he never spoke to the manager, he never spoke to any staff member. The entirety of his legal basis for this arrest rested on what one fellow officer, who was 2 months out of the academy, told him a manager said. Under Florida law, a lawful trespass warning must be issued by the property owner or their authorized representative. Vickery was not present for any of that conversation. He took it entirely on faith, and when the attorney asks him directly, "Did you hear anyone from Scores tell her she needed to be trespassed?" the answer is no.
Okay. So you get the call, and Officer Borisati gets the call as well. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then Officer Borisati arrives at approximately 4:53, and then you arrive approximately 6 minutes later at 4:59. Does that sound about right?
I believe that's what we read off the paper, yes, sir.
Very good. I want you to tell me what you witnessed upon arriving to the Scores parking lot.
I saw Officer Borshad's patrol vehicle, and then I saw Miss Martinez sitting on the curve of the parking lot.
Did you see Officer Borsati at that time?
No, I believe he was inside the business at that time.
Where was Miss Martinez?
She was sitting on the sidewalk in front of the business.
What was she doing?
She was sitting on the curb.
Just sitting there on the curb?
Yes, sir.
She wasn't screaming, she wasn't yelling?
Not at this point, yes, sir.
Okay. Did you witness any other individuals at the scene?
I didn't see anybody else at this point.
Did you, at any point, see anybody else at the Scores parking lot?
Officer Borshad came out of the business.
Okay. When did Officer Borsati come out of the business?
It was sometime after I arrived.
So you arrive, Miss Martinez is sitting on the curb. Do you have a conversation with Miss Martinez?
I do.
And tell me about that conversation.
Just the questions that you start out asking someone when you arrive at the scene, what's going on, what's happening.
And what do you recall what Miss Martinez told you?
She was upset about being fired on her first day of work.
Okay. She was upset about being fired from her first day of work. Was she, okay. Did you ask her any other questions?
I couldn't tell you specific questions.
Okay. Was it during this conversation that Officer Borsati came out?
At some point, yes, sir.
Well, how long were you talking to Miss Martinez before Officer Borsati came out, approximately?
That would be a complete guess and estimate. If I had to estimate, a couple of minutes.
Fair enough. And I know that this happened a long time ago, so that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so Officer Borsati exits the... Does he say something to you? Do you say something to him? How does that conversation begin?
I don't remember if he came out and jumped in the conversation with Miss Martinez and I, or if we spoke privately.
So you don't recall... Well, let me ask you, do you recall what Officer Borsati and you discussed after he came outside of the building?
At some point we discussed the trespass.
At some point, was that while Miss Martinez was still on the curb?
Yes.
What do you recall specifically from that conversation about the trespass?
That the business requested that she be trespassed.
And that's what Officer Borsati told you?
Yes.
Did you ever talk to anybody who worked for the business?
I did not.
So to the best of your knowledge, the entirety of your belief that she should have been removed from the property was based upon what Officer Borsati had told you?
That is correct.
Okay. So you didn't talk to the manager or any other workers that were there?
No.
At any point in time?
No.
Okay. Do you recall specifically what Officer Borsati told you about what the managers may have said about Miss Martinez?
Not specifics that I can remember.
Generally. Can you remember anything generally then that he told you about about the conversation that Officer Borsati may have had with the owner or patrons within inside the building?
Something about her disturbing patrons outside the business.
Did Officer Borsati affirmatively tell you that the manager requested that she be trespassed?
When he came outside, he told me that management would like her trespassed.
All right. Did he say that in the presence of Miss Martinez? Do you recall?
I don't remember.
At some point, after you were made aware that the owners of the building would like her to leave, what did you do next?
She was, at that point, complaining that her purse was still inside the business. So I stayed with her as Officer Borshade went to go get her purse.
And did Officer Borsati go get her purse and then come back out?
Yes.
So her purse was inside the building?
Yes.
Was there any other personal items that she may have had that were in the building?
Outside of her purse, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
It was just the purse.
Okay. Do you recall anything about a cell phone?
I don't.
Okay. So Officer Borsati goes and gets her items, brings them back out. Then what happens now?
It was at that point, some point during that interaction with her, that we advised her that she was trespassed, or that she was going to be trespassed.
Okay. When you advised her that she was going to be trespassed, what did she say in response to that?
She didn't understand why. She said she was fired on her first day of work and doesn't understand why she'd be trespassed.
Okay. At this point, did you notice any level of intoxication of Miss Martinez?
We did.
And what made you aware of that?
Just an odor of an alcoholic beverage from her breath.
Okay. prior to being informed that she was being trespassed, was there any erratic behavior that she was distributing or showing?
What do you mean by erratic?
As she was sitting on the curb, was she acting erratically? Was she yelling? Was she throwing things? Was she screaming?
No, she wasn't yelling or throwing things. No.
After she was told that she was being trespassed, did you advise her as to what her options were, what she could do?
Her option is to leave the property.
Okay. Did you, where was she, well, let me ask you this. Do you know did she drive to work on that day?
I wasn't under the understanding that she did drive to work or that she had a vehicle out in the parking lot.
Okay. If she was to leave, presumably you would say that she could not drive at that point.
Absolutely.
Okay. But she needed to leave the property. I'm trying to figure out what options she had as far as leaving the property.
We were advised that she had a ride on the way.
Here's a detail that does not appear in the arrest report at all, but comes out in this deposition. At the time that the decision was made to arrest Myra Martinez, Officer Vickery was aware that she had a ride on the way to pick her up. He knew this. He acknowledges it under oath. She was intoxicated. She had no car at the scene, and someone was coming to get her. He is then asked plainly, "Why didn't you just let her wait for the ride?" His answer, "The business wanted her trespassed and she had to leave the property." He is then walked through the logical problem this creates. If she was intoxicated to the point that, as the arrest report states, she could not make a rational decision and could have harmed herself, others, or property, then telling her to simply walk away from the property while intoxicated is not a meaningful option. It is not a safe option. It is not even a coherent option. Vickery eventually acknowledges under oath that the arrest report statement that Martinez could not make a rational decision was, and this is a direct quote, not 100% accurate. He said this, under oath, about a report he reviewed and approved. That is the primary arresting officer testifying that his own official police document contained a false statement.
What was she doing when you were informed that she had a ride on the way?
I don't remember at that current moment.
Okay. At some point, so to be clear, you were aware that she had a ride on the way?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, the decision gets made to arrest Ms. Martinez, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And who makes that decision? Was that your decision or was that Officer Borisati's decision?
Believe that I looked over at Borshad and told him that let's arrest her.
Okay. So it was your decision to arrest her at that point?
If I remember right, yes, sir.
Okay. And what were you arresting her for at that point?
Trespassing.
Okay. And that was based on what Officer Borisati had told you that the manager had told him?
That's correct.
Okay. After being informed that she was going to be placed under arrest, did you see a change in her behavior?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what happened at that point.
She became angry.
Did her physical actions change in any way?
After Borshad grabbed her by the arm, yes.
Well, let's back up. When you inform Ms. Martinez that you're going to place her under arrest, was she still sitting on the curb at this point?
No.
Where was she at this point?
We had walked a little ways into the parking lot in the parking stall area.
And in the park and stall areas where you informed her that she was going to be arrested?
Yes.
Okay. And changed in your decision-making where you decided to arrest her at that point?
We'd given her multiple opportunities to leave the parking lot, and she was still refusing to leave.
Okay. And it was just because she was refusing to leave at that point is why she was being arrested?
For an extended period of time, yes, sir.
Okay. But it was not, she wasn't being arrested because she was being violent or
No.
being intoxicated in public or anything like that. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you were also aware that she had a ride on the way to Scores at this time?
That's what I understood, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Why didn't you just let her wait for a ride to be there, to get there?
The business advised that they wanted her trespassed, and so at that point she has to leave the property.
At the time that you advised her that she is being arrested for trespassing, I believe you said Officer Borisati grabbed her right wrist. Was that the first physical contact that you saw made between Ms. Martinez and any officer?
Objection to form.
Yes, it's the first contact.
Okay. And describe what you saw Officer Borisati do.
He grabbed her by her right wrist.
Where was Miss Martinez at this point? Were we still in the parking lot in the parking stall?
Correct,
You
yes.
described? Okay. Was Miss Martinez standing? Was she?
She was squatting.
Okay. And Officer Borisati grabbed her wrist. Was it her right wrist?
Yes.
Okay. And did he say anything to her at that point?
Advised her that she was under arrest.
Okay. And what did she say in response, if anything?
Don't you fucking touch me.
And what happened next?
She began to pull away from Officer Borisati,
And what did Officer Borisati do when she started to pull away?
held onto the wrist, held onto her arm.
At some point, do you make contact with Miss Martinez?
Yes.
Tell me how that happened and when you got involved with the effectuating of the arrest.
As soon as she started pulling away,
What did you do?
I grabbed her left arm.
Okay. Why were you grabbing her left arm at that point?
To assist in detaining her.
So both you and Officer Borisati were attempting to detain her and ultimately place handcuffs on her and put her in the back of the police cruiser.
That was the goal, yes, sir.
That was the goal at that point. At some point in time, was Miss Martinez, was she fighting back at some point, or was she
She was actively resisting, yes.
actively resisting? And how was she actively resisting?
By making her body limp, such as like dead weight, pulling away, squirming.
Okay. Was she striking at any officers? Or did you witness Miss Martinez attempt to strike at any officer?
She attempted to kick us, yes.
What about with her hands, or did she try to punch anybody?
I don't recall a specific punch. She was squirming, so her arms were flailing. Whether it was intentional or not at the time, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. At some point in time, did you get a handcuff on her left wrist?
I did.
Okay. Was she still standing at that time, or was she taken down at that point?
She was standing or kneeling. I couldn't remember if it was while she was still kneeling or if she was standing up at that point.
But before she was lying on her stomach, she had handcuffs on her left wrist. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. After placing the handcuff on her left wrist, was Miss Martinez ultimately taken down?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
After the handcuff was placed on her left wrist, was Miss Martinez ultimately taken down to the pavement?
Yes.
Okay. And what is that? Is that called a takedown technique?
It was just taking someone to the ground.
Is that something that you learn in the police academy?
There are techniques for that, to take someone to the ground, yes.
Did you take her to the ground, or did Officer Borisati take her to the ground?
Officer Borisati.
Okay. Did you witness Officer Borisati take her to the ground?
Yes.
How did he do it?
By grabbing her around her waist and then pulling her to the ground.
Is that an approved technique that they teach you in the police academy?
That is not a specific technique.
So no.
The attorney asks Vickery whether the takedown Borisati used on Martinez was an approved police academy technique. And Vickery's answer is one of the most legally significant exchanges in this entire deposition. He says, that is not a specific technique, so no. Borisati grabbed Martinez around the waist and pulled her to the ground. A technique that is not in the JSO training manual, is not taught at the academy, and is not part of any approved use of force curriculum. 2 months out of the academy, an unapproved takedown. 8 strikes, some of which landed on her side and her head, on a woman who, by Vickery's own testimony, was not a threat to herself or others at the time she was arrested. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution protects citizens from unreasonable seizure. The standard established in Graham v. Connor, a landmark Supreme Court case, requires courts to evaluate use of force based on the severity of the crime at issue, whether the suspect posed an immediate threat, and whether she was actively resisting. Myra Martinez was being arrested for trespassing. She was not armed. She was not a flight risk. She had 1 handcuff on her left wrist. Under those facts, 8 strikes and an unapproved takedown constitute a significant constitutional question, which is precisely why this case made it to federal court.
Did I get an answer? That is not a specific, objection to form, you can answer, that is not a specific technique. So no, objection to form, and I'm not sure I got an answer.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Tell me, can you describe to me how Officer Borisati took Miss Martinez down?
Grabbed her around the waist.
Okay. After Miss Martinez was taken down to the ground, were you still in contact with her?
I had lost contact with her at during the point where she went to the ground.
Okay. Once she was on the ground, did you drop down to the ground as well to try to regain control?
I did.
And what were you specifically grabbing for at that point?
Trying to grab that left wrist with the handcuff attached.
And did you grab it?
Eventually, yes. Yeah.
Okay. At any point in time, was she swinging around the handcuff?
While she went to the ground,
At any point in time, did you
Yeah.
witness her swinging around the handcuff?
her arms were swinging with the handcuff attached. So yes.
As she was on the ground and you had grabbed a hold of her left wrist, what was your body position compared to hers? Where were you positioned?
To the side of her, by her left side.
Were you applying force to her back to keep her chained?
Eventually, I did place a knee on her back.
Was it at that point that you decided to use your radio for?
There were a few times I attempted to use my radio.
And why were you using your radio at these particular points?
To call for backup.
Okay. Were you strike that? What in the police academy? Do they train you on when to call for backup and how and when the appropriate time is?
Not specifically, because whenever you deem it necessary.
And do you remember what exactly you radioed out?
I attempted to radio, nothing came through. I attempted to radio for backup.
And do you recall at the time that your knee is on her back and she is on the ground, what is Officer Borisati doing?
Attempted to gain control of her right arm
How was he doing that?
by grabbing and applying strikes to her back.
Did you witness Officer Borisati apply these strikes?
I did.
I'm sorry?
I did.
How many strikes did Officer Borisati apply?
I don't remember the number.
Can you give me an approximation?
Be strictly an estimate. 8, maybe?
At any point in time, were any verbal commands given to Miss Martinez?
Couldn't tell you specifics on the exact commands.
Yeah, I get that.
My
But
go-to is calm down, put your hands behind your back. That's what gets repeated normally when I talk.
do you have any specific recollection of saying those to Miss Martinez on this day?
No independent recollection at this point, no.
What about Officer Borisati? Did he give any verbal commands to Miss Martinez at any point?
Nothing I remember hearing today.
You said that you witnessed maybe 8 strikes from Officer Borisati. These strikes, were they closed-fisted?
I couldn't recall specifically.
Do you remember where on her body Officer Borisati was striking?
The back.
The police academy. Well, I'm going to ask you a little bit about Officer Borisati's relationship. I believe that this event happened in April of 2016, and I think, or April 2017. And I believe that we had established earlier that you became a full-time police officer, or even completed your field training February of 2016. It is 2016.
Yes,
So you had been a police officer for a couple of months at that point.
that's correct.
Okay. How long had Officer Borisati been a police officer?
The same amount of time.
Did you guys go through the training academy together?
He went through the full academy, and then I jumped in that 9-week orientation period.
And you were able to do just the 9-week orientation period because you had already done the prior classes when you were either with the CSO or a corrections officer.
That's correct.
So you had gone through the same training as Officer Borisati,
Yes, sir.
but maybe at...
Different time period, yes, sir.
Okay. The training academy, do they teach you about striking techniques? Do they tell you what is allowable?
By policy, yes.
And what is the policy as far as it relates to the number of strikes?
There isn't one for number.
Okay. What is the policy in regards to the amount of force used?
It's the force necessary to overcome resistance.
Okay. In your opinion, Officer Vickery, did it take 8 strikes to achieve that objective in this case?
Objection to form, you can answer.
It appeared that it did.
Appeared that it did. After the strikes were applied, did you witness Officer Borisati touch Miss Martinez's head at any point?
Not from my independent recollection.
After the strikes were applied, was Officer Borisati able to put her right hand in the handcuffs?
He was able to get his right hand behind her back, yes.
Okay. At that point, following the strikes, does Officer Borisati step away for a moment and leave you with Miss Martinez?
After the handcuffs were applied, yes.
Okay. And why did Officer Borisati step away?
I couldn't tell you.
At some point, Miss Martinez is taken from the parking lot and put into the back of the police cruiser. How does she get up from the pavement?
I picked her up
And how did you pick her up?
by her arm.
Which are handcuffed at this point?
Yes.
Okay. And do you walk her straight to the back of your police car?
I do.
Okay. What does Miss Martinez do whenever you pick her up?
At some point, she kicks me.
Okay. At some point as well, does Officer Borisati come back and engage with both you and Miss Martinez?
Yes.
And what does Officer Borisati do at this point?
Grabs her to help carry her back to the car or put her back to the car.
Okay. Now, were you putting her in the back of your police car or in the back of Officer Borisati's police car?
My car.
Okay. And why your car as opposed to Officer Borisati's?
By the call, I was listed as the primary officer on that call.
Okay. Officer Borisati applied more force during the course of this arrest than you did. Is that fair?
Objection to form, you can answer.
Yes.
At some point, it seems to me, well, so strike that. At some point, did it cross your mind that Officer Borisati perhaps should be the primary officer on this?
No.
Okay. As a police officer, are you allowed, what are the elements required for you to arrest somebody for trespassing?
The business requesting to be trespassed.
And did you hear anybody who works at the business tell her that she needs to be trespassed or not?
No.
The attorney asks Vickery what the legal elements are for arresting someone for trespassing. His answer? The business requesting to be trespassed. Then the attorney asks, did you personally hear anyone from the business tell Martinez she needed to leave? The answer is no. He never heard it. He was never present for it. He took Borisad's word for it, drove out to Scores, and made an independent arrest decision based entirely on secondhand information from a fellow police officer who had been a full-time police officer for exactly the same amount of time as Vickery, 2 months. That is the entire legal foundation for this arrest. One officer relaying what he claimed another person said, no direct communication, no verification, no corroboration. And when Borisad's own written account of that conversation, the one that appears in the arrest narrative he wrote himself, is read back to Vickery in the deposition, Vickery confirms under oath that he was not present for a single line of it.
Going back to where we were, I believe you just picked Miss Martinez up off the ground. She's handcuffed. She's walking back to your police vehicle. At some point, does she make it in the back of your police cruiser?
She does.
Okay. And what happens when she's in the back of the police cruiser?
She almost immediately starts kicking.
Okay. Describe to me what she was doing.
Kicking the door, the window, screaming.
Okay. Were her hands, she was still handcuffed at this point?
Yes.
And at some point, does the decision get made that she needs to be hobbled?
Yes.
And who makes that decision?
I don't remember who brought it up, to be honest with you.
Who applied the hobble?
Officer Borisati.
And whose hobble was it?
His.
Is there any sort of procedure involved before you apply a hobble restraint?
Prior to applying it,
Yes.
we apply it to people who are kicking, who are being violent, or need another level of restraint.
At some point in time, did you contact your supervisor at the scene, still in the Scores parking lot, did you contact your supervisor, or
No.
did you know if Officer Borisati contacted his supervisor?
Yes, Officer Borisati contacted his.
And when did Officer Borisati contact his supervising?
It would have been before we attempted to apply the hobble.
Would it have been after the strikes?
Yes.
Were you present during that conversation between Officer Borisati and his supervisor?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Would that be common to contact your supervisor if you were going to apply a hobble restraint?
So for a TAR, a total appendage restraint, it is policy to advise your supervisor.
While you're still at Scores, does any other officers arrive on the scene?
Yes.
Who were they?
Officer Brown and Officer Garrett, who was the PIC that day, or the officer in charge.
And who notified Officer Brown and PIC Garrett to go to scores?
Officer Borshade, or Officer Garrett was the one that Officer Borshade called, so he would have been the acting supervisor.
Okay. Did you speak with PIC Garrett at the scene?
Yeah.
And what did you...
I don't remember specifics of what was discussed, just the incident in general.
Okay. Did you inform PIC Garrett at the scene that that Officer Borshade had used strikes on Miss Martinez?
Not that I remember specifically.
Would that be something that you would typically notify somebody if you were describing that incident? Just if you were informing your supervisor of an arrest that involved the use of force, would you describe that force to your supervisor?
Yeah.
But you did not in this particular instance.
If it involved a response to resistance report, yeah, we would notify the supervisor.
Okay. But you did not notify the PIC Garrett at the scene?
I did not.
Do you know if Officer Borsati notified them?
Not that I remember.
What about Officer Brown? Did you discuss the incident with Officer Brown?
Only that I remember more specific to the hobble.
Specifically to the hobble. What about the force used by Officer Borsati? Did you discuss that with anybody at the scene of scores?
Not that I remember, no, sir.
Okay. Once the hobble was applied, was Miss Martinez, she was still in the back of your police cruiser at that point?
Yes.
Okay. And then where do you go from there?
Like leaving? You
Yes.
mean? Straight to the jail.
You go straight to the jail. Okay. And then do you go to the pretrial detention facility? Is that what it's called?
That's
Sally
correct.
Port?
Correct.
Okay.
Should we take a
Yeah.
break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
We're on record at 11:37. We were back in the record.
Okay. Did anybody ask if she was injured?
Did?
You did? And what was her response?
No.
And when did you ask her that?
Sometime in the car.
On the way to the Sally Port?
I don't remember if it was before we left or on the way there.
Okay. Do you remember specifically what you had asked her?
No, not specifically. It normally goes with, are you hurt? Do you need rescue?
And you specifically recall her saying no to those?
She said she wasn't injured. She didn't complain of any injury.
When you arrive at the Sally Port, what is the scene like when you arrive?
We pull in. There's other officers there and other people waiting to go into the jail.
You said we pulled in. Did you and Miss Martinez get to the Sally Port prior to Officer Borsati?
We arrived at the same time.
Okay. All right. And there were other people that were preparing to be, I guess, sort of taken into the jail?
Yes.
Okay. Did you and Officer Borsati have a conversation about who would not draft the narrative?
He said he would be willing to write the narrative while I did the main portion, the body of the docket.
Did he volunteer to do the narrative?
If I remember right, he did.
Okay. So you didn't ask him to do the narrative?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Is that common for the primary officer to have somebody else write the narrative on the arrest and booking report?
I don't know that I'd say common, but it happens.
Is there any JSO policy and procedure about filling out these reports? Is there any protocol to follow when it comes to filling out these reports?
Not specific to anybody else doing them that I'm aware of, no, sir.
Okay. What about, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay. So you filled out everything but the narrative. Officer, who filled out the narrative report?
Officer Borshade.
Okay.
What gets revealed in this portion of the deposition is something that is unusual enough to be worth pausing on. Borisade, the secondary officer on this arrest, wrote the narrative section of the arrest and booking report in the first person, meaning the entire narrative reads as though Vickery, the primary officer, is describing his own observations. But Vickery didn't write it. He reviewed it, he approved it, and he signed off on it knowing that it contained things he was not personally present for, things he had not personally witnessed, things he cannot verify. The attorney makes the point simply and directly. It would make it seem like those are your statements. Vickery acknowledges this and says he couldn't tell you why Borisade decided to do it that way. The absence of a clear explanation for this authorship arrangement is itself significant. When a document is written in someone's voice, submitted under their case number, and used to justify an arrest, the accuracy of that document is that officer's legal responsibility. And this document does not mention strikes to the side of the body. It does not mention any contact with Martinez's head. It does not mention the 8 strikes that Vickery himself witnessed and was concerned about. The report, written by the man who committed those acts and approved by the man who watched them happen, simply does not reflect what occurred.
Throughout your career, how many times has a different officer filled out the narrative portion of an arrest report while you filled out the other parts?
Don't know.
Has it ever happened other than this incident?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of, but you can't recall when or where?
No, I couldn't recall specifics on it.
Okay. Where you filled out, and I'm talking specifically about where you filled out the main report, everything but the narrative. That has happened before?
That's happened before.
Before this incident?
I don't know if it happened before that incident or not.
Okay, but it may have happened since this incident.
Yes.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, there is no policy or procedure, nor were you trained on whether or not that is okay?
That I'm aware of.
Okay. Okay. And what was the reason that Officer Borisati filled out the narrative and you did not?
To expedite the whole process, and she was hobbled.
Okay. To expedite the process, was there a need to expedite the process?
Not a specific need, just to get her into the jail faster and get her legs undone from the hobble.
Is it policy and procedure that you cannot remove a hobble until the arrest and booking report is completed?
No.
Okay, so you could have removed the hobble while you were still completing the report.
Could have.
Okay. So I'm sorry, but I'm trying to figure out what were you were trying to expedite the process, but what were you expediting by having Officer Borisati fill out the narrative?
Objection to form.
To get her into the jail faster.
Get her in the jail faster. Was there a line of people waiting to be processed into the jail?
There was other people waiting.
Okay. Would those people have been in line before Ms. Martinez to be processed into the jail?
Depending on if they were male or female. It could
Okay.
be. They take them in separately.
Okay. Well, did you review the narrative that Officer Borisati wrote? Did Officer Borisati write the narrative at the Sally Port while you were there?
Yes.
Okay. And you reviewed it at the Sally Port?
Yes.
Okay. Does Officer Borisati, when he's writing the narrative, does he write it, is he speaking from your position or is he speaking from his position of what he witnessed?
Appears that he's speaking from my position except for the quote that he had written from his position.
Is that common when writing these types of reports?
Can't speak for anybody else.
Is there any sort of JSO policy and procedure behind filling out these narrative reports, speaking from your perspective as the arresting officer as opposed to some other officer?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Would you say that it's commonplace that officers will speak from a different officer's perspective when filling out a narrative?
I couldn't say that it's commonplace. I don't know how other officers operate all the time.
Have you ever witnessed any other incident where somebody has filled out a narrative report on your behalf and spoke and using your first person even though you did not write the actual narrative?
I couldn't recall specifics on that.
Is that a no?
Like I said, I couldn't recall specifics on it.
We'll come back to that. So in the Sally Port, Officer Borisati is filling out the narrative. Are you filling out the rest of the report while he's filling out the narrative?
Yes.
At the same time?
Yes.
And what is Ms. Martinez doing at this point?
It's still in the back of my patrol vehicle.
Okay. At this point, is she still causing a scene? Is she screaming? Is she kicking? Is she yelling? Is she...
I remember her being fairly calm in the back of the patrol vehicle while we were at the Sally Port.
At some point, do you make the decision to remove the hobble?
Yes, when she gets out of the vehicle.
At that point, had the report already been completed?
I believe so.
Okay. You removed the hobble. Well, I shouldn't say that. Who removed the hobble from Miss Martinez?
I did.
You did, okay. Was Officer Borisati present when you removed the hobble?
He was in the Sally Port. I don't remember how close he was to us.
Once you removed the hobble, what did you do with Miss Martinez at that point?
I don't remember if she continued sitting in the vehicle for a certain period of time or if she came out of the vehicle and waited by the entry door to the jail.
Okay. At some point, do you leave the Sally Port?
Yes.
Okay. When did you leave the Sally Port?
When the report was completed and she was out of my vehicle.
Okay. And after the hobble was removed?
Yes.
Okay. So remove the hobble, she gets out of the vehicle, she's standing there, the report is complete, you get in your car and drive away. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you make any phone calls once you leave the Sally Port?
After I left the Sally Port at some point.
And who did you notify your supervisor as to what happened?
I did.
And what did you inform your supervisor? And this is Sergeant Weeks?
Correct.
And what did you inform Sergeant Weeks at the time?
We informed him of the force used at the parking lot of Scores.
What specifically did you tell Sergeant Weeks about the amount of force used at
That moment, there wasn't much specifics. It was a pretty short conversation.
Can you tell me how that conversation went?
Told him that I wanted to notify him about some force that was used in the parking lot of our previous call.
You specifically recall mentioning the parking lot?
No, not specifically the parking lot, no.
About what time did you make this call to Sergeant Weeks?
I couldn't tell you. It was after I left the Sally Port and sometime that evening.
Would it have been before your deployment?
I don't know if it was before I got to the deployment or if it was after I was on the deployment.
But either way, it was the same day of the incident.
Yes.
You contacted Sergeant Weeks. And what was Sergeant Weeks' response when you told him about that there was force used during the arrest?
It was a very quick, vague response. He said something to the effect of, "I'm aware of it," or something to that effect, and went on.
He said, "I'm aware of it"?
If I remember right, yes, sir.
Were you present? Well, let me ask you. Are you aware that there was a second incident that involved Officer Borisati and Miss Martinez that occurred in the Sally Port?
Not at that time.
Okay, you weren't aware of it at that time?
No.
Do you know if Sergeant Weeks was aware that there was a second incident?
I didn't know at that time specifically, no.
All right. Is it possible that Sergeant Weeks was thinking that you were calling to discuss the incident that occurred in the Sally Port?
It could have been.
Did you notify anybody else about what had happened in the Scores parking lot?
No.
What did your supervisor tell you to do?
Nothing at that point. It was, like I said, a very quick conversation and we hung up.
Why did you feel the need to contact your supervisor?
Like I said, I wanted to make him aware of the force that was used.
Okay. Would you notify your supervisor every single time force is used in the field?
No, not necessarily.
Why did you feel the need to notify him about this particular instance?
I was questioning if an RTR should be written and the amount of force used.
To be clear, at the time you decided to make this telephone call, you had witnessed Officer Borisati strike Miss Martinez about 8 times.
In the parking lot, yes.
In the parking lot, yes. But at that point, did you, at this point, at the time that you made the phone call to your supervisor, you did not witness Officer Borisati touch Miss Martinez's head in any way?
No.
So you didn't witness him slamming her face into the pavement or anything like that? You did not witness it at the time that you made the phone call to your supervisor?
No.
So at the time that you called your supervisor, you had witnessed the strikes, and it was your belief that the strikes made you question whether or not the amount of force was used, required you to notify your supervisor.
Objection.
Yes.
About the, you said the use of force concerned you. What was it about the force that concerned you?
Maybe the number of strikes, I don't know.
I think you testified earlier that Officer Borisati struck her in the back. Did you witness Officer Borisati strike her any other place?
It was a lot in the back and side.
Did the location of the punches on her body cause any concern to you?
I don't believe it was the location, no.
It was the amount, primarily.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably more concerned the amount.
At some point, did you fill out a response to resistance report?
I did.
Okay, and just generally, what is a response to resistance report?
It is a report documenting a use of force issue.
I'm sorry,
It was a report documenting a use of force.
And this is a document that you would fill out as a witness to somebody who witnessed it?
Sorry. You could fill it out as the one who used force, and then you also fill it out as if you witness somebody using force, yes.
Okay, and as you were filling this out, you filled it out from the perspective of somebody witnessing Officer Borisati using force on Miss Martinez?
That's correct.
Okay. And what is the JSO policy and procedure behind writing these response to resistance reports?
As far as why we need to write them or how to write them? Or
Sure, we'll start with why do you need to write these?
when force used causes injury or the person being arrested complains of injury.
Well, when did you fill out your response to resistance report?
I believe it was the next day.
I'm going to show you what will be marked as, is this 2 or is it 3?
You didn't mark the other one.
I didn't mark the other one. Well, we can go back.
Sure.
We'll mark this one 2. We'll mark the A and B as 2, and then we'll do the response to resistance as 3. Thank you. Right. Do you mind perusing that for a minute? Are you familiar with what that document is?
Yes, sir.
And what is that document?
It's the response to resistance report.
Thank you. Now, is it dated as to when it was completed?
It's created on the 29th.
Of April? April 29th, 2016?
I'm sorry, yes, sir, on the April 29th, 2016.
Thank you. And the date of incident was on April 27th, 2016, is that correct?
That is correct.
So this report would have been filled out 2 days later?
Yes, it was at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I was notified the next day. It was created, I guess, the second day in the middle of the night, if that makes sense.
It does.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So really it's on late into the second day?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Is there any sort of JSO policy and procedure about the timing of when you're supposed to fill out these response to resistance reports?
I believe it's by the end of shift.
Okay. Is there why you didn't fill out the response to resistance by the end of the shift on April 27th?
Yeah, I was advised by Sergeant Weeks not to fill out any further reports.
Why would Sergeant Weeks say not to fill out a response to resistance report?
Was told that integrity was on the case and to not fill anything out until they approved any further reports.
Is that consistent with your training that you can remember?
I couldn't tell you about Sergeant's policy and integrity's policy.
Sergeant Weeks told you not to fill it out because, I'm sorry, you said integrity?
Yes, sir.
Integrity was on it, speak?
Correct.
Did you speak with anybody on integrity?
Not that same day.
Okay. But again, when you were talking to Sergeant Weeks, and I think we kind of established this earlier, is it possible that Sergeant Weeks, when he's talking about what IA is handling, that he could have been discussing, referring solely to the incident that occurred in the Sally Port?
You'd have to ask him, but yeah, that's possible.
Okay.
And it's integrity.
Thank you. What did I say?
IA.
Sorry.
It's okay.
At some point, a video surfaced of the incident that occurred in the Scores parking lot. Are you aware of that?
Yes,
Okay. Have you seen the video?
I have.
And it's purports to be a dash cam video covering the incident. When did you see this video?
Within days after the incident?
It wouldn't have been the same day of the incident, would it have been?
I don't think it was the same day.
Did you notice anything watching the video that you did not recall as you witnessed it firsthand?
Yes.
And what is that?
Contacts, or the pushing the face to the ground.
So you, upon reviewing the video, that's when you see Officer Borisati take Miss Martinez's head and put it into the pavement.
I see him push her head towards the pavement, yes, sir.
Okay. So at the time that you had called Sergeant Weeks with the concern of the amount of use of force, you had not seen this video yet?
That's correct.
Did you feel like, what compelled you to call Sergeant Weeks?
Objection to form.
I think we already discussed that. I mean, it was, yeah.
Fair enough. Did you ever ask Miss Martinez if she was on any sort of drugs?
I don't recall if I asked her anything about drugs.
What about her level of intoxication?
I asked her if she had anything to drink.
Do you recall what her response was?
If I remember right, it was one cocktail.
And to be clear, you never spoke with anybody else at Scores other than Miss Martinez and Officer Borisati or the other officers that showed up after she was arrested?
Objection to form.
Correct.
Okay. You did not talk to the manager or any of the employees of Scores?
Objection to form.
That's correct.
Have you at any point since receiving the call to go to Scores talked to any of the employees at Scores about this incident that you know of? So no follow-up after this incident?
No.
Okay. Do you know if Scores has surveillance cameras?
I'm not sure.
If there was, did you request surveillance?
I did not.
Do you know if Integrity requested surveillance?
I'm not sure.
Other than, I believe you said Miss Martinez kicked at you, is there any other violent act that Ms. Martinez did that you can recall?
Objection to form.
Not that I can remember offhand.
So no punches,
No.
no biting?
From what I was informed by Officer Borshade, that's correct. He said that she attempted to bite him.
Good, but you did not witness that?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go back a little bit now and go through the arrest and booking report with you. We touched on this earlier. Borasati did the narrative, you did the rest of it. And I just would like to go through it with you, and
Okay.
then may ask you some questions as we go. Okay? The narrative section begins by saying, on 4/27/2016 at 16:50 hours, Officer A.A. Borasati and I responded to a dispute involving an intoxicated individual. Again, it's confusing because it says Officer Borasati and I, but really it's Officer Borasati is the one writing this narrative.
Objection to form.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. It says, upon arriving at the listed location, I made contact with the suspect, Ms. Martinez, in the parking lot. Was this when she was on the curb?
Yes.
Okay. The suspect stated she would recently move from Orlando, Florida to Jacksonville, Florida. The suspect stated today was her first day of work at the establishment. She was suddenly told to leave by management. The suspect stated she still had some belongings in the establishment, such as her purse and identification. It should be noted that while speaking with the suspect, a strong odor of alcoholic beverage could be smelled emitting from her breath. So she's sitting out front. She's got an alcoholic odor on her breath. Her stuff is inside of the club where she was employed at the beginning of the day. At that point, did she advise you that she would like to get her things back?
It was at some point when Officer Borshade and I were both talking to her that she did. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to read to you. It says, the following is a statement from Officer Borasati. Well, the following is a statement from Officer Borasati and his interaction with the acting manager. It says, quote, I made contact with the acting manager, Mr. Jacob Madden, while Officer N.H. Vickery 64291 maintained contact with the suspect. The complainant stated the suspect showed up for her first day of work earlier today and decided to quit. The complainant stated that the suspect had 4 shots of a 100 proof alcoholic beverage prior to quitting. The complainant stated that he asked the suspect to leave numerous times, but she stayed in the parking lot of the establishment and refused. The complainant stated he would like to have the suspect trespass from the property since she was outside disturbing patrons. The complainant provided me with the suspect's purse, which contained her identification. Officer Vickery, you were not present for any of that conversation between Officer Borasati and anybody at Scores, were you?
No.
So you did not witness Officer Borasati make contact with the acting manager, Mr. Jacob Madden?
I did not witness that.
You did not witness Mr. Madden state that Ms. Martinez had, quote, 4 shots of a 100 proof alcoholic beverage prior to quitting?
I did not.
You did not witness the complainant ask the suspect to leave numerous times? You didn't witness the complainant ask her to leave any times?
I did not.
You did not witness the complainant state that he would like to have the suspect trespass from the property?
I did not.
It goes on to state that Officer Borasati and I made contact with the suspect and informed her she was being trespassed from the property. Do you remember telling her that she was trespassed from the property?
I don't remember specifically who was the one that said it to her.
Okay. Again, Officer Borasati, speaking from your perspective, stated that the suspect became irate and belligerent and stated she was not wrong in this situation.
Objection to form.
Is that inaccurate? Was she irate and belligerent at that time?
She was pretty angry.
It goes on to state that Officer Borasati and I attempted to give the suspect another warning that she would be arrested if she did not leave the property. Did you or Officer Borasati give Ms. Martinez that warning?
I don't remember who specifically did.
It says the suspect maintained her disorderly and belligerent behavior as she refused to leave the premise. Disorderly and belligerent behavior, can you describe what she was doing that was disorderly and belligerent?
Yelling and screaming, yeah.
Okay. And that was after she was told that she was being under arrest?
Or when she was told that she was trespassed.
But prior to her being told that she was trespassed, she was not disorderly or belligerent that you witnessed?
I mean, yeah, she was angry, but not towards us.
Was she acting, okay, was she was angry, emotionally angry, was she acting any sort of physical anger? Was she hitting things, throwing things, punching things?
No.
Okay. The arrest report goes on to state that it should be noted that the suspect was intoxicated to the point where she could not make a rational decision and could have harmed herself, others, or property. Is it your belief that Ms. Martinez could not make a rational decision on that date?
She was fairly intoxicated.
Was she intoxicated to the point that she forgot that her purse and her phone were still in the place that she had just left?
Apparently not.
Would that be a rational decision to get her things before she left the parking lot?
Could be.
It goes on to state that Officer Borisati and I informed the suspect that she was being arrested and attempted to place her hands behind her back for detainment. I think this is slightly different from what we testified earlier. I believe you said that Officer Borisati was the one who grabbed her wrist to effectuate the arrest to begin with?
He initiated it.
Okay.
He was the first one to grab a hold of her.
And how long after did you grab a hold of her?
Very quickly, almost immediately.
Then it goes on to say the suspect began to resist by bracing her arms, pulling away, and swinging her arms without regard to myself and Officer Borisati. Do you remember her swinging her arms like that? Or did Officer Borisati have her right hand and you have her left hand at that point?
She was squirming. So, yeah, I mean, she was squirming, pulling, swinging.
You remember her swinging?
Yeah, I mean, it was part of the squirming and, yeah, it's part of the squirming and pulling away and everything, yeah.
Okay. But when you say swinging, you don't? No. Strike that. Then goes on to say that Officer Borisati and I took the suspect to the ground, at which point she began kicking at us and biting at Officer Borisati. You did not witness her bite at Officer Borisati, did you?
No.
It says the suspect was struck on her lower back by Officer Borisati until she complied with the loud verbal commands to stop resisting. Do you recall the strikes to her lower back?
Yeah, I remember strikes to the back.
And what about strikes to the side?
Yeah.
But that doesn't say side in here. Right? Is that correct? There's
have
no
to look
mention
at
of
it.
strikes
Okay.
to her side in this arrest and booking report, is that correct? Certainly.
That's correct. There's no mention of it.
Officer Borisati and I were able to place handcuffs on the suspect while she was on the ground. As we walked the suspect to my patrol vehicle, she began to kick at Officer Borisati and I with her legs. Is there any mention about Officer Borisati making contact with Ms. Martinez's head or putting it into the pavement in
No.
this report? And this report, again, was authored by Officer Borisati, or the narrative report was authored by Officer Borisati, is that correct?
That's correct.
But you reviewed this,
Yes.
and you are the arresting officer, is that correct?
He's also listed on there as the second arresting officer. But
Okay,
yes,
does
I'm
it-
the primary.
Does it matter for any purpose, who's primary and who's secondary? What is the significance between the two?
Honestly, just that was done on my report under my name. The second officer gives him the option to sign the arrest docket at the jail. It's for her to be admitted into the jail.
I hand this back to you. Do you
Okay.
see, there's a series of signatures there in the middle of the page.
Yes.
Is your signature affixed to this report?
No.
Is that common?
Yeah. Very.
Whose signatures are on that report?
Appears to be Officer Borisati's.
Very good. And why was it that you did not sign this report in this instance?
Because he was the one that stayed behind with her at the jail while I went to my deployment.
All right. And we touched on this earlier, but at some point, was there ever a discussion between you and Officer Borisati where Borisati may have said, why don't I just be primary on this? I'll do the report, I'll do it all?
No, there was never a discussion about him being the sole writer of it.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, it seems to me, I'm just trying to figure out, Officer, why the narrative section of the report isn't just written from Officer Borisati's perspective.
Protection form.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you why he decided to do it that way.
Because it would make it seem like those are your statements. I think there's some statements in here that you yourself may not have witnessed.
Protection
Is that fair?
form.
Which statements will those be again? So I can accurately answer that question.
Certainly. Officer Borisati and I took the suspect to the ground, at which point she began kicking at us and biting at Officer Borisati.
He discussed the biting at the parking lot. He discussed that she attempted to bite him at the parking lot. But I did not witness it.
Okay. But you see where that could get confusing. I understand if it says at the Sally Port, Officer Borisati told me that she bit him at.
It was
That's
at
not what the
Objection.
report says, correct?
Objection form.
But it was at the parking lot that he advised me after the incident, after we got her detained and put in the car, he advised me that she attempted to bite him.
But you did not witness it itself.
That's correct. I did not witness it.
Let me look at the, we have the R&R.
Oh, yeah. For one more bathroom break.
Sure,
Another?
let's-
Is that fine?
let's- yeah.
Going through water over here.
This is media number 2. We're on the record at 12:44.
I believe we had just gotten to the response to resistance report. I was just about to ask you some more questions about that. What I'd like to do is just go through it with you, and if I've got some questions, I may ask them along the way. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good.
Very good. Now, this is the response to resistance witness report. I believe the date was April 29th, 2016, about 3:35 a.m.
That's what it says on there, yes, sir.
All right. It says in the narrative portion here, now you did fill out this form, correct?
That's correct.
This narrative portion on the response to resistant report was filled out by you.
It was written by me.
Cody, I'm going to give him a copy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should have made copies. All right. Following along here in the narrative sections, it says on April 27th, 2016, at 16:53, Officer A.A. Borisati, number 72073, and I were dispatched to 4923 University Boulevard West, Scores Gentlemen Club, in reference to a dispute involving an intoxicated ex-employee disrupting the business and refusing to leave. Okay, Officer Borisati had arrived at the scene. Upon my arrival, I observed Myra Martinez, the suspect, and Officer Borisati in front of the business near the entrance. So when you arrived and you saw, I believe you testified that you saw Officer Borisati's patrol vehicle in the parking lot, and then you saw Miss Martinez sitting on the curb outside.
Yes,
do you recall seeing Officer Borisati standing by Miss Martinez at that time, or was Officer Borisati inside of the establishment at that
No,
time?
he was inside the establishment.
Okay. The suspect appeared to be intoxicated and was belligerent towards Officer Borisati and myself when we tried to talk to her. When you first tried to talk to her, was she belligerent at that point?
Not at first.
It goes on to say that although it was difficult to understand what she was saying, it was determined that she understood she was not welcome at the business but refused to leave because she left a purse in the business. What do you mean by it was difficult to understand what she was saying?
Well, she was intoxicated for one, and then also she'd ramble on about things, about being fired on her first day, not being able to go on stage, just kind of rambling things. So,
But did you notice, could you not understand the words that she was saying, or was it, it was difficult to follow her line of thought?
it was difficult to follow, and then with her slurred speech, her level of intoxication, yeah, it was difficult to understand as well.
Okay. Officer Borisati met with the staff and to see if she had any property in the business. I stayed with the suspect, who sat on the curb and ranted about being fired on her first day as a dancer because she came to work drunk. Now, when it says when she came to work drunk, at this point, at the time that you did this report 2 days after the arrest, were you aware whether or not she came to work drunk?
No, that's just what she was ranting about.
That she came to work drunk?
That's, according to this, yes, sir.
Okay. Goes on to say, I tried to calm her down, but she grew more furious as we waited. Was Officer Borisati also trying to calm her down at this point?
It just says I couldn't remember if he was there at that time or not.
Okay. A few minutes later, Officer Borisati returned and gave the suspect her purse. Officer Borisati then advised the suspect that the staff wanted her warned against trespassing at the business. It was explained that she would be subject to arrest if she did not immediately leave the business or property. When you say it was explained that she would be subject to arrest if she did not immediately leave the business property, how was that explained to her?
That the business wants you trespassed and you were to leave the property.
You think that she understood what you were telling her?
Yeah.
Okay. So from your position, she was capable of understanding the demands?
I think so, yeah.
The RTR report is the document that JSO policy requires officers to complete when force is used that results in injury or when the person arrested complains of injury. Vickery did not file this report by the end of his shift on April 27th, as policy required. He was told by Sergeant Weeks not to file anything because integrity was on the case. Then Weeks changed course the following day and told him to file it. The RTR was ultimately completed on April 29th, 2 days after the incident at 3:35 in the morning. By that point, Vickery had watched the parking lot dash cam video. He acknowledged this under oath. He saw Borisade push Martinez's head toward the ground on that video before he wrote the RTR. And the RTR, critically, does document strikes to her right shoulder, her right arm, and the right side of her head, information that does not appear anywhere in the original arrest and booking report. The attorney walks Vickery through this discrepancy carefully. The arrest report, the one written in the heat of the moment by the man who did the hitting, omits the head contact entirely. The RTR, written 2 days later after the video surfaced, includes it. These are supposed to be accounts of the same event by the same people. They are not the same document.
The suspect tried to argue about the trespass warning and continued contesting her termination for being intoxicated. When you say contesting her termination for being intoxicated, does that mean that she was complaining about that to you? Is that what
Yeah, she was complaining about being fired, yeah.
Okay, but she not to the Scores management, but to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, she was complaining about being fired to me.
I tried to convince the suspect to leave peaceably, but she continued to argue. How did you try to convince Miss Martinez to leave peaceably?
Just talking to her calmly and then telling her that if she didn't leave, she would go to jail.
Okay, and I think we touched on this earlier, but what were her options as far as peaceably leaving?
Objection to form.
To leave the property. Like I said, we were advised that she had a ride on the way, but she was still told to leave the property, the business property.
Okay, but at the same time, she was also intoxicated?
Yes.
Would that be common in a trespass situation if somebody was intoxicated to just say, go to somebody else's property? That will solve the issue? Is that common?
Well, I mean, where are you getting at? Because we didn't have the option to just, if you're talking about just leaving her somewhere, then no, we never got to that point. But yeah, when they're trespassed, yes, they need to leave the business property that's trespassing them.
Okay. I guess my question is where did you expect her to go?
Objection to form.
I didn't give her a specific location.
But you did know that she had a ride on the way.
Objection to form.
Did you know that she had a ride on the way?
Objection to form.
I was made aware that she had a ride on the way. I was advised that she had a ride on the way.
When instructed to leave the property immediately, she flatly refused. At this point, had Officer Borisati returned her items to her at this point? All of her items?
It says a few lines above that Officer Borisati returned and gave the suspect her purse.
It says, at this point, Officer Borisati took hold of her right arm and told the suspect that she was under arrest for trespassing. So it was Officer Borisati who actually made, according to this report, it was Officer Borisati who told Miss Martinez that she was under arrest. Is that correct?
Well, that's saying that he made contact with her, yes, and then advised that she was under arrest.
The suspect became enraged, said, "Don't you effing touch me," and tried to pull her arm away from Officer Borisati. I took hold of her left arm to quickly handcuff her before she could further resist and instructed her to calm down and put her hands behind her back. She refused to comply and continued to resist by pulling her arms away from us while she tried to kick me. She was furiously yelling. She did not do anything wrong and ignored all my instructions to stop resisting. How many instructions to stop resisting do you recall giving Miss Martinez?
Like I said, my normal command is calm down, put your hands behind your back, that sort of thing. Okay. So I don't know how many times I repeated that.
Do you ever recall saying the phrase, "stop resisting"?
I don't specifically recall now, no.
Okay. Are you, as a police officer, are you trained when you give verbal commands to make certain statements?
The common one is stop resisting, but they don't give us a set verbiage to use, no.
Is there a difference between calm down and stop resisting?
Yeah.
After a struggle, I was able to get her left arm behind her back and into a handcuff. So that was you who put the handcuff on her left arm.
Correct.
Officer Borisati was unable to get the suspect's right arm behind her back. Without explaining his intent to me, he then let go of her arm and grabbed the suspect's waist. Is this when Officer Borisati is beginning to attempt the takedown maneuver or take her down to the ground?
Yeah, this would be the start of that.
Is it common in a situation like this where there are two officers and one suspect for there to be communications between the officer as to what one officer intended to do or not?
Ideally, yes, but during a situation, sometimes it's more difficult than you'd imagine.
I understand that. It says he then took the suspect to the ground. During the takedown, I lost control of her left arm, which was handcuffed. When she hit the ground, she immediately tried rolling around and pulling her arms away. Do you recall her rolling around? What do you mean by rolling? Do you mean like full rollovers, or was she just squirming back and forth?
Squirming from side to side, maybe on her side, that kind of deal.
Okay. But not rolling like she would down a hill. So.
No, I don't remember a specific, like a roll kind of deal.
Okay. She was trying to get her feet underneath her to stand up as Officer Borisati tried to gain control of her right side. I regained control of her left arm, which had an open handcuff attached. So she was trying to get to her feet at the time, so presumably she's still at the ground during this point?
Yeah, when she went to the ground, she stayed on the ground.
Okay. And she was on the ground at the time that you regained control of her left arm?
Correct.
Okay. And I think that you had made some mention earlier about how, well, let me ask you, at the point that you regained control of her left arm, was it possible for her to swing her left arm around with an open handcuff on it?
By the time I got control of it, I'd never lost control of it. So
Okay.
no, she wouldn't have been able to swing that arm around.
It says the handcuff gave the suspect a potentially deadly weapon and needed to be controlled before it could be used. I held that arm with my right hand and attempted to contact HQ via radio for more assistance with my left. At that point in time, was the handcuff, it says the handcuff gave the suspect a potentially deadly weapon. Is a handcuff that's you're in control of a deadly weapon?
I believe that statement was made, though, prior to me gaining control of it, if I remember right.
It says, I'll just read the whole thing. It says, I regained control of her left arm, which had an open handcuff still attached. The handcuff gave the suspect a potentially deadly weapon and needed to be controlled before it could be used.
Which is why I gained control of it so quickly, or attempted to gain control of it so quickly, so yeah.
Okay, so but once you gain control of it, it's no longer a deadly weapon. Is that fair?
Yeah, if I have full control of it, no, she couldn't use it to be a deadly weapon at that point.
Thank you. It says Officer Borisati was still struggling to overcome the suspect's resistance and punched her right shoulder mass, right arm, and right side of her head with his hands. I believe you testified earlier that there was maybe 8 strikes to the back and to her side. Are these the strikes that we're talking about here?
Yes.
The strikes to her right shoulder mass, her right arm, and the right side of her head?
Yes.
And this report was on April 29th, 2 days later.
Yeah, a day and a half later. Yeah.
Thank you. After Officer Borisati got the suspect's right arm behind her back, I was able to complete handcuffing the suspect and walk her to my patrol vehicle. While walking the suspect to the vehicle, she violently kicked me on my right thigh and repeatedly tried to pull away. Kick, how many times did Miss Martinez kick you once she was handcuffed?
The one I remember was the one.
Just that one time?
It's the one I specifically remember, yeah.
Okay. And that occurred after Officer Borisati had struck her?
Yes, so it was after she was handcuffed.
Once the suspect was placed into my vehicle, she began kicking the windows and doors. When other units arrived to assist, the suspect was hobbled in an effort to stop her from kicking. After that, I reported the suspect to the pretrial detention facility. She screamed profanities and threats at me during the entirety of the transport. I completed my report and left the suspect with Officer Borisati so I could make it to a robbery deployment that I was assigned. After transporting the suspect to pretrial detention facility, I notified Sergeant J.A. Weeks, number 6777, about the incident. Now, I think we talked about your telephone call with Sergeant Weeks a little bit earlier, but
Yes.
that's you were notifying him. This is a call where you were notifying him about the use of force involved?
That's correct.
And that was based on you witnessing the number of strikes that Officer Borisati just used. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you originally contacted Officer Weeks on the same date of the incident, which would have been April 27th, 2016?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
27th.
It says, I was advised that it was conducting an investigation and to wait until further notice before transmitting any reports regarding the incident. And that's what Sergeant Weeks told you about the integrity unit?
To wait, to transmit, yes, sir.
Okay. And then on 4/28, which was the day following this incident, it says, I was advised by Sergeant Weeks to complete this report.
Yes.
So to be clear, you called Sergeant Weeks on April 27th, 2016 about this use of force. He says, what does he say generally? What is your understanding of what Sergeant Weeks was saying in response to you?
Generally, don't transmit any more reports.
Okay. And then the following day, he calls you and says,
Right,
actually, I
this-
need you to do a report.
Right, this witness RTR. Yes.
Okay. So has he changed his mind?
You have to ask him. I don't know if he changed his mind or if he was instructed to tell me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Either way, your instructions changed
Yes.
from the 27th to the 28th.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. I want to ask you a little bit about the integrity investigation. Are you aware that the integrity investigation, well, I guess you were, Sergeant Weeks told you that integrity had this?
Yes, sir.
Is that the first time you were notified that integrity was going to be reviewing this incident?
I believe so.
Were you contacted by anybody in integrity about this?
Yes, eventually, a couple days after maybe.
A couple days after the
Today, yes, sir.
And do you remember who contacted you?
Detective Cayenne.
And what did Detective Cayenne and you discuss? Was
When
was
the
it a
original
telephone
contact? Yes. The original contact was a telephone call.
call? And what did you guys discuss during this telephone call?
He just asked if I would be willing to come in to talk about the incident.
At this point, when he asked you to come in and talk about the incident, did he specifically reference the incident that occurred in the Scores parking lot, or was he referencing what happened in the Sallyport, or did he differentiate between the two?
I don't think he specified.
What was did you schedule a time to go meet with the
Yes.
detective? And when did you meet with Detective Cayenne?
I couldn't give you a date.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said that we advised her that if she were to return, she would be subject to arrest. Who is the we in that? Is that both you and Officer Borisati remember saying that to her?
Yeah, so we were the only two at the scene, so we would have been Officer Borshad and I.
Okay, but which one actually, do you recall saying those words to Ms. Martinez, or do you remember hearing Officer Borisati saying those words?
Section of form.
No, I said them, but it doesn't mean that he didn't say them along the conversation, as the conversation went on as well.
Okay.
And we asked her to leave the property, and she continued to say, continued to be upset, belligerent, I'm really about not even going on stage yet. Was kind of one of the things she kept repeating, I didn't even go on stage yet. So,
Do you think she was understanding what you guys were telling her? Was she coherent enough?
she was definitely coherent, yes, sir. I mean, she was intoxicated, yes, sir, but she was coherent. And she knew that she was being trespassed.
So I just want to stop it there. So from your perspective, she was coherent.
Coherent enough to understand that she was trespassed? She didn't understand. I'm sorry, she did. That's not correct. I guess she wasn't. She didn't agree that she was going to be trespassed.
Okay.
She just didn't agree with it. She's like, I just came to my first day at work and they fired me. So we gave her several opportunities to leave. We got off the property, and they want you off the property immediately, so we need you to exit immediately. And she could.
When you say we gave her plenty of opportunities to leave the property, what opportunities did you give her to leave the property?
Telling her that she needs to leave, and I mean, she has an opportunity to start exiting the property.
At the same time, she's intoxicated, correct? Is it common would it be common to have an intoxicated person just leave the business, just leave? Standard procedure? If somebody's intoxicated, are they just supposed to walk off?
Well, like I told you, she has to leave the property if she's trespassed, but I don't know where you're getting at with that. So if she's trespassed, she's got to leave the property, yes.
What I'm getting at is you said you gave her multiple opportunities to leave. I'm asking you what are those opportunities?
Objection.
She is in public, she can walk away,
Even though she's intoxicated.
yes,
Can you be intoxicated in public?
without disturbing somebody's peace. Doesn't mean that we're going to leave her alone.
Did you say that you were going to stay with her?
I didn't say that specifically to her, no.
Could she have been arrested for being intoxicated in public had she walked away?
Like I said, we didn't get to that point, and we never made the decision on if how we're going to stay with her and how we're going to wait for that ride.
Right. Yeah, I understand you made the decision to ultimately arrest her, but I'm asking you specifically, you said you provided her opportunities to leave. What are those opportunities?
Objection to form.
Like I told you, she has the opportunity to walk off the property.
So had Miss Martinez just walked away while intoxicated from the property, then she would have just went on her way and she would not have been arrested. Is that what you're saying?
Objection.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, going to the opportunity, you never advised her that you would stay with her until her ride got there?
I don't remember ever specifically saying that to her, no.
Okay.
She almost started to unpack things from her person bag, just in an effort to, stall or, just refuse. So at that time I told Officer Borshani, I said, let's go ahead and go 10:15. She's not leaving. Let's go ahead and place her under arrest. So he said, okay. So I walked over and told her, he said, ma'am, you're not leaving, but you're going to jail now. I need you to stand up and place your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. And that's what she said, don't you fucking touch me. And so, talking to him, I'm kind of more shy. She was still kind of on her, I don't know if it was on her knees, but she was bent down. Okay. Like maybe a squat or something, but on her knees near her items. So he reached out and grabbed her right arm and just went to go pick her up, and she began to pull away again. And so that's when I intervened. I came and grabbed her left.
Pause it there for a second. Again, going back, at this point, while Miss Martinez, she was intoxicated at Scores, I believe, was she a threat to herself or others or to property at that time?
Not at that moment.
Prior to her arrest, was she a threat to herself or to others or to property?
Nothing that we're...
Nothing specifically advised. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 here. If you could just read the last paragraph there, going on here and then on to the next page, please.
The very last, you're talking about where there says the suspect? Is that what you're talking about? Did I get that right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I know that's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yes, that'd be great.
Suspect maintained her disorderly and belligerent behavior and she refused to leave the premises. It should be noted that the suspect was intoxicated to the point where she could not make a rational decision and could have harmed herself, others, or property.
Thank you. So my question to you, Officer Vickery, is that if someone is a threat to cause harm to herself, to others, or to property, how is she supposed to just walk away? And she's intoxicated.
I said could have. So she was intoxicated to the point where she could have become that way.
So she was not that way, is what...
Yes, she was not that way, but she had that potential of becoming that way. She could have.
I'm going to read from it. It says, it should be noted that the suspect was intoxicated to the point where she could not make a rational decision and could have harmed herself, others, or property. So she was intoxicated to the point where she could not make a rational decision, according to the arrest report. Officer, if somebody is intoxicated to the point where they cannot make a rational decision, are they supposed to just leave the property then?
Objection informed.
I think you're referring to us leaving her alone, and like I told you, we never got to that point. So would we have waited for a ride? We never got to that point, but most likely, yeah.
Okay. Again, in your statement that you made with integrity, you said you provided multiple opportunities. I understand that you may not have. I know that you ultimately arrested her. I guess my question I'm asking you specifically is about those opportunities to leave.
Yes, we had told her to leave, and she refused to.
Is an intoxicated person who may be, is intoxicated to the point where they cannot make a rational decision, are they should just leave then? That's the opportunity that you're talking about. I'm trying to be very specific as to what opportunity you provided her to leave.
Objection to form.
So again, if the suspect is intoxicated to the point where they could not make a rational decision, and you tell them to leave the property, are they free to leave the property even though they're intoxicated and even though they are incapable of making a rational decision?
They were told to leave the property, yes. She was told to leave the property. Like we talked earlier, she was able to make a rational enough decision to get her purse and ID out of the business before she left. And it was stated in there also that she understood that she was trespassed. So yes, she had the knowledge she was trespassed and had the knowledge that she was supposed to leave.
So is it your testimony here today that she could make a rational decision?
Some rational decisions, yes, I think she was capable of making.
So would the police report, would the arrest and booking report be inaccurate when it says that the suspect was intoxicated to the point where she could not make a rational decision?
Some rational decisions she could make, so I guess you could say that's not 100% accurate. I was able to get her left arm behind her back and then get her handcuffed. At the time we're saying, ma'am, you need to calm down. You need to place your hands behind your back. Calm down, place your hands behind your back was, I guess, almost what I got stuck with saying. So I gave her, I handcuffed her on her left arm, and we began to struggle. He struggled getting her right arm behind her back. He then grabbed her around her waist and said, hold on, I got this, was one thing that was fortunate. I said to me, and grabbed her around her waist and was able to take her to the ground. So we were able to get her to the ground, but at that time I lost control of her left hand, the one with the handcuffs still on.
Gotcha.
And so my first thought was to get that.
So when you say you lost control of that one handcuff, so that means you're able to
She was swinging.
And she was so she was actually swinging the handcuff as a weapon, or
I mean,
No.
This is one of the most quietly devastating exchanges in the entire deposition. During the integrity unit interview, at a certain point in the conversation, it was the detective, not Vickery, who first suggested that Martinez was swinging the open handcuff as a weapon. The attorney identifies this on the record. He plays the clip. He asks Vickery directly, who introduced the swinging handcuff narrative first, and Vickery confirms it was the detective. Vickery says he never described it that way before that moment in the interview. He does not believe he ever used that language in any report. What this reveals is something very specific about how the integrity unit interview was conducted. The detective was not only consoling Vickery and framing the encounter charitably, he was actively introducing justifications for the force used that Vickery himself had not offered. A police officer being interviewed in a criminal investigation should not be having potential legal defenses suggested to them by the interviewer. That is not how criminal investigations are supposed to work. And the fact that the handcuff as weapon framing appears in later characterizations of this incident when it originated with the investigating detective, not the witness, is something every viewer of this footage should hold on to.
You, to this point, had not mentioned the swinging of the handcuff in any direction. That was Detective Cayenne who first mentions her swinging the handcuff. Is that correct?
Objection to form.
he was the one on there that, on that video you're talking about, he was the one on there that initiated the swing of the handcuffs. I didn't say it prior to that in that interview.
Okay. Did you say it in any other reports that you may have written prior to giving this interview?
I don't believe it's in any other reports.
Okay.
Intentionally, I don't know, but it could have. Hurt somebody.
Right, if the handcuff had struck one of you guys in the face, she wasn't complying with the instructions, she was belligerent, she was intoxicated, right?
Detective Cayenne says she wasn't following any instructions. What instructions is he talking about?
Calm down, put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
Would imagine.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what about anything that Officer Borisati says? You said you couldn't remember anything that Officer Borisati said?
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't remember any specifics that he was saying.
Do you recall if he was saying anything?
Like I said, I couldn't.
She would not submit to the request for stop resisting or calm down, in your words, to be handcuffed. So she's swinging around her left cuff. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So,
Detective Cayenne says, so she's swinging around her left cuff. Go ahead. At this point, did you tell Detective Cayenne that she was swinging around her left cuff?
I don't remember being there saying that to him.
Well, have you ever told Detective Cayenne that Miss Martinez was swinging around her left cuff?
Don't think I ever told him that specifically. She went to the ground. They was finally able to get her on her stomach. I think she was rolling back and forth. She was kind of rolling back and forth. He was able to get her on her stomach, and I was able to grab the left arm and get that hand secure. I was able to, kind of with my right knee, just be able to put it in her back, just to help secure her to the ground, so that way I was holding the arm and cuff my right hand so she couldn't use that, and I was able to get that secure. And I was using my left arm to attempt to call. Now I didn't go through. I tried 2 separate times.
No problem.
And for whatever reason, just wasn't able to go through. Absolutely. So I was attempting to about 33 floors, so we'll find one. So that way people would come. I noticed strikes from Officer Borsade. I noticed mainly in the back and side.
And
Doing a lot of strikes.
When he was doing the strike,
She was not cuffed yet.
okay, sir.
So you said that you noticed strikes to the back and the side. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Okay. Anywhere on the... I'm going to show you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 again. This is the arrest and booking report. Does it say anything about being punched in the side?
Yeah, I think we already talked about that. It does not. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
She still had her right arm either underneath her or kind of to the side and was still really resisting.
Fair enough.
I wasn't really giving commands at this time because I was more focused on trying to get transmission through so we can get some backup.
Gotcha.
So he continued to strike. He struck multiple times and was able to get her arm behind her back. And then I was able to handcuff. And we got her detained at that point. He stood up and I just kind of took a breather. Okay. I stayed with my knee kind of on her, secure her. Once she was handcuffed, she legs kicked him a little bit, but she kind of, I don't know if it was just exhaustion from her at that point for a minute or what, but she stopped and calmed for a second, and I just kind of took a deep breath just to kind of, get some air in me.
Take your breath.
So I was able to pick her up off the ground and attempted to start escorting her to the vehicle, and that's when she reared back and kind of mule kicked my thigh, knee area, right inside, I believe it was.
Contact?
I didn't notice it at the time.
Right,
I said she kicked at me. Yes,
Right.
sir. I do remember her kicking and me kind of trying to move. I honestly don't ever remember getting hit by anything, just because the adrenaline was going.
I got you.
So she was really kicking, but I do know, I kind of moved, so she must have connected with something. So we started transporting her, I pushed her arms up in the air, so that way I kind of get her bent and moving forward, and was able to place her in the vehicle,
What vehicle?
my vehicle.
Okay. And you're the primary officer,
I
right?
am the primary officer.
Okay, so was it a struggle to get her in your vehicle?
No, so she's out in the vehicle fine. She started to become more belligerent, for the time she got up and started kicking. She continued to be more and more belligerent and yelling and screaming. But I don't remember really struggling to put her inside the vehicle at all.
Okay. Once you guys get her in the vehicle and you get secured in the vehicle, was the determination to stay there and do paperwork or head out to do paperwork?
We really didn't have much time because she immediately started kicking.
Okay.
It wasn't seconds of her being in the vehicle before she immediately started kicking windows and doors.
Okay.
It was the passenger side.
So she's starting to kick.
Starting to kick. Officer Forsythe gets on the radio and calls his supervisor at the time and says something about we might need a tar one or we're about to tar one.
Is that Garrett who's calling?
Yes.
Okay.
And so we get another officer there. One officer shows up, and we get Officer Forsythe's tar out, and we hobble her. We just put the restraints on her feet so that way she won't kick.
Okay, so it was actually Officer Borsadi's hobble or yours? It was his.
It was his, yes.
And then who did the hobble?
Officer Forsythe and the other officer that was there. I'm still so new. I want to say his last name's Brown.
Okay.
I can recognize him. I'm trying to think of his last name.
Not a problem.
I think it's Brown. And then at that time, the other officer had shown up as well. The supervisor had shown up.
So Borsadi gets his hobble. Borsadi and the other officer, we'll figure out who that is, they hobble her through the rear passenger doors.
Driver door, that's what
Okay, so the
it was.
rear driver's door. And you said Officer Borsadi applied the hobble to her feet.
Correct.
You guys get it, secured. I guess, I'm guessing dropping it out of the car,
Yes, sir. Correct.
closing the door. She's still in your vehicle.
We actually ran through out of the rear rear driver's side door, and then into my driver door. So that way I could sit and hold.
Yep, policy and procedures so far, that's fantastic. What about, did a supervisor ever show up at the scene?
The PIC did, Garrett.
Okay, and who's your sergeant? Okay,
Joey's.
so Joey's is your supervisor, and they had a PIC, which was Gary. So he does show up at the scene.
Yes, sir.
So after she's hobbled, how long do you guys think you remained there prior to transporting?
Oh man, maybe 15 minutes. I hate to give a timeline.
No, I got you. It's enough. I
Okay.
guess, let me ask you a question. It's probably enough for everybody to catch their breath
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
and settle down for a second. I guess for either you or Borsadi to inform the PIC of what you actually had,
Yes, sir.
why you were 10-15, I'm guessing,
Correct.
and that you had to hobble.
What is 1015?
Arrest. Yeah, when you take someone into custody.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Right. Was fire rescue called for anyone at the scene?
No, sir. She didn't have any physical injuries on her, and
Okay.
she actually told us because we asked her, "Are you hurt?" She said no.
Okay.
She said no. I have no injuries. I'm not hurt. So
Okay. So you guys decide.
Do you specifically remember her saying, "I have no injuries"?
now, I don't specifically remember that.
To head down to the jail. I'm guessing you're driving,
I am.
her, and I guess Borsadi followed you.
Correct.
To the 35. You guys,
No, sir. I jumped on Phillips and took Phillips, and then jumped on 95, all the way to the Phillips, and jumped on 95.
you guys get to the jail. What do you notice when you get to the jail? How crowded was it, and what time did you arrive there, you think?
Oh man, 5:30 maybe.
Okay.
Something something like that.
Okay. And what was the crowd like?
It was a decent crowd. There might have been 3 or 4 people waiting to get in.
Okay.
Suspects, inmates at this point, waiting to get in. I was able to park pretty much in front of the intake door.
Okay.
But there were multiple cars. Fortunately, I had to park up front towards the exit.
Okay, and I guess, so when you get to the jail, you guys go inside before you start completing the arrest report?
No, sir. We'd start on the arrest report then, actually.
Where? Okay.
In the Sally Port.
Right.
So. Oh, that's what you mean. I'm
Yes,
sorry. We're
yeah.
in the Sally Port before.
Okay, correct. So, you guys are in the Sally Port, and then that's when you...
When you're in the Sally Port and you're talking, you and Officer Borisati are dividing up how you're going to do the arrest and booking report. Are you still in your own vehicles? Are you guys talking over the radio? Or have you guys gotten out of your cars and talking in person? Do you recall?
Yeah, I don't remember how that conversation, if it was in person, if it was over the computer.
Okay. Do you recall, do you remember getting out of your vehicle and talking to Officer Borisati within the Sally Port?
At some point I would have to, but I don't remember specifics of it. You know.
And I think you said this earlier, but it was Officer Borisati who had volunteered to do the narrative report?
And as you say that too, I believe he actually sends that through our dispatch system, if I remember right, the volunteering to do the narrative,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
Would that be on this sheet in any way?
I think it's in this interview.
Okay.
No, it wouldn't be on. I don't know.
I mean, it goes for a couple of pages here. I'll let you take a look at those and see if anything jogs your memory.
No, I think this is just people, this would be the dispatch screen. People responded on that same system. We can send messages and stuff too. I don't think it was on this though.
So it would be a different system?
No, same system.
Same system, but you can send messages?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what that system is called? How would we try to track down any of that?
MDC.
MDC?
Mobile Dispatch Center, I think.
Okay. And that allows officers to communicate with each other via email or whatever from their patrol cars, what that is?
Yeah, it's not email, but yeah, it's a messaging system.
Messaging system, yes, thank you. Okay.
Begin to complete.
Sorry, let me ask you this one last thing. Did you and Officer Borisati discuss the division of labor as far as the arrest and booking report is concerned at Scores, or did you do that at the Sally Port?
It would have been at the Sally Port.
Okay. When it says the docket is approved and she's about to exit, what are they specifically referencing there? Is that the arrest and booking report?
Arrest and booking report, and it would have been accepted or approved by Officer Garrett.
Okay. And once it gets approved by Officer Garrett, then she can be sent to the corrections facility or admitted into the...
It gets sent to, sorry to interrupt, it gets sent to an officer, a corrections officer, and then he also has to accept the report as well.
Now, at the time that you were telling Officer Borisati that you're the second officer on it and that you were busy and you had to go to handle other duties, you had, at this point, obviously had already witnessed the strikes that Officer Borisati had applied to Miss Martinez.
I did.
Okay. Did that give you any pause before allowing Officer Borisati to complete this arrest and booking report?
No.
So at the time, you were concerned with the number of punches thrown by Officer Borisati at the time, and yet you still made the decision that he should be the one to do the narrative report for the arrest report?
It doesn't specify a time in there that I became concerned, but at the time we were completing the report, no, I didn't have any concerns with him completing the report, the narrative of it.
So let's be precise about what Vickery is confirming here under oath. He witnessed Borisade strike Martinez approximately 8 times. He was concerned enough about it to call his supervisor. He was concerned enough that he later told integrity detectives it was tough to watch and that he disagreed with it. And yet, when he was standing in the Sally Port dividing up the arrest paperwork, he had no concerns about allowing the officer he had concerns about to write the official narrative of the arrest he had concerns about. He signed off on a process that put the pen in the hand of the officer whose conduct he was questioning. The narrative that resulted from that choice did not mention the head contact. It did not mention the side strikes. It described Martinez as a belligerent suspect who resisted arrest until she complied with loud verbal commands. Vickery reviewed that document. Vickery approved that document. And then Vickery left to make his deployment. The law in this area is clear. A primary officer has a duty to ensure that official reports accurately reflect what occurred. The doctrine of supervisory liability under Section 1983 means that when an officer ratifies or approves a false or incomplete report, they can bear the same constitutional responsibility as the officer who created it.
Did anything change as far as the number of strikes from the time that you wrote the report to any later?
No, nothing changed.
So at the time that you wrote the report, you had no concern with the amount of force used?
No, I wouldn't say that. I just said I didn't have any concerns with him writing the report.
And to be clear, you did witness Officer Borisati hit her in the back and the side repeatedly. That's from what you can recall from the scene.
Yes.
Prior to what Detective Cayenne said, had you informed Detective Cayenne that you had told Miss Martinez?
Not the specific words. Like I said, my normal was put your hands behind your back, but not specifically that quote, give me your hands, give me your hands.
Okay. And you don't recall that, well, let me ask you, do you recall that being said at any point in time in the Scores parking lot?
What, the give me your hands?
Yeah.
No, I don't recall that.
So when you called Sergeant Weeks, you were calling Sergeant Weeks again specifically for the strikes that you witnessed Officer Borisati use on Miss Martinez, is that correct?
Yeah, strikes.
And I believe it was your testimony earlier that while you were on the scene, you did not witness, or you might have been radioing, I think is what you said, when Officer Borisati put his hand on Miss Martinez's head and put it into the pavement. Do you recall witnessing that from the scene?
I did not witness that at the scene, him pushing her head towards the pavement, no.
So at the time that you called your supervisor, you were informing your supervisor that you were concerned with the use of force only concerning the strikes and not concerning Officer Borisati putting Miss Martinez's head into the pavement.
Check.
Is that fair?
Yes, that's what I call him.
So in that, you refer to the arrest and the incident and the arrest that had just occurred. And Sergeant Weeks, I believe you said, responded that he was aware of the incident involving Officer Borisati.
Yes.
Now, we touched on this earlier, but do we know whether Sergeant Weeks was specifically talking about what happened in the Scores parking lot or what happened in the Sallyport?
Objection to form.
I don't know for certain. We can only make assumptions on that. I don't know. You have to ask him.
Okay, but there was nothing that you can recall specifically telling Sergeant Weeks that would have been about the Scores parking lot?
Check.
I don't remember specifically mentioning the parking lot.
So I just want to understand this. You knew about the video the day before that you gave this recorded statement?
I don't know what day it was before, but it was before the statement, yeah.
Okay, I think it said last night, I think is what it said.
Oh, maybe it was.
Let me go back here. And so would that mean that the night before you gave this interview was the first time that you became aware of the video?
I would imagine.
Objection to form.
I would imagine so, by that.
Okay. Would it have been important for you to tell Sergeant Weeks specifically about the Scores incident?
Objection to form.
Like I said, our conversation was so short, we didn't even get to specifics of the incident.
So you guys could have been talking about two totally different incidents?
It is possible, yeah.
Okay. And other than your supervisor, did you contact anybody else about the incident that occurred at Scores?
No.
Now, are they talking about what you got from Officer Borisati?
Yeah, the only info I got about the trespassing stuff was from Officer Borisati.
Okay. The video that you saw, who provided you that video?
It was online at that point.
Okay. So maybe from the news?
Yeah, I think I was notified of the video was out there.
Okay. Do you remember who notified you that the video was out there?
There was another officer.
Do you remember that officer's name?
I do.
And who was it?
Officer Ledoux.
Officer Ledoux?
Yes.
Okay. And who is Officer Ledoux?
She was just, she went through the academy with me, the orientation portion that I jumped into.
Right. Did you and Officer Ledoux have a conversation about this video?
It was just, she just told me that it was out there.
Okay. And that was on the same day that you did your response to resistance witness report?
I don't remember.
Okay. But you do recall seeing the video before writing
Yes,
this?
I did.
Okay. And again, this response to resistance witness report was completed on April 29th, 2016, correct?
Yeah, so should have had to have notified me the 28th, I'd imagine.
Okay.
Incident on the 27th, and then that was written on the 28th, 29th.
Okay. And the incident had occurred on the 27th.
Correct.
Reference in
And I'm sorry, but what was, and the reason that you didn't do this before is because Sergeant Weeks told you not to worry about doing that because integrity has it?
Objection.
The response to resistance report.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. But then he did call you, well, he eventually changed his mind and told you, or you were told something different later that you did need to fill out a R&R report.
Objection to form.
Correct.
So if you don't know why Officer Borisati, well, to this day, do you still not know why Officer Borisati used as much force as he did?
That portion was probably because of her attempting to bite him. I don't know. That's the only reason I could think of.
Okay, but you didn't witness her attempt to bite him, just being clear.
Yeah.
Is that what they tell you in your training? Just get it over with as soon as possible?
I mean, yeah, you stop. You want to overcome the resistance as fast as possible, yeah?
Okay. At all costs?
No.
Objection.
At this point, Detective Cayenne is specifically talking about the head slamming, but prior to seeing the video, you were unaware of the head slamming.
Objection. Asked and answered.
It's an answer, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, prior to seeing the video, I never saw or the head slamming was never mentioned.
4 years after this incident, in a sworn deposition, Officer Vickery confirms one final time that prior to watching the parking lot dashcam video, he never saw Borisade push Martinez's head into the pavement. He never mentioned it to his supervisor. He never included it in any report. And he never went back to amend his RTR after the Integrity Unit interview, even after the detective specifically suggested he could document things he only became aware of through the video. The head contact that is clearly visible on camera, the contact that Vickery himself described as tough to watch, appears in no official JSO document authored before the video became public. It was the video, released by a private citizen and picked up by news outlets, that drove the investigation. Not the officers, not the supervisors, not the Integrity Unit. A dashcam and a person who happened to be recording.
Was this when you and Officer Borisati were having this conversation about what to keep in and what to take out of the narrative, was that all done at the Sally Port?
That would have been all done at the Sally Port.
And would that have been done on the MDC system?
I don't know if it was done on that or if it was done in person, us talking. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Again, her flailing and swinging the handcuff. Did you witness that?
Objection. Asked and answered.
Join.
Like I said, that was a part of the squirming and the trying to maneuver. I don't think I ever specifically said swinging, but yeah, that was a part of her squirming and flailing around, trying to avoid us.
After this interview with Integrity, did you ever supplement or amend or write a new response to resistance report?
No, sir.
Okay. Moving on. It's a video of the incident. It's the dash cam video. Roddy, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are you making that another exhibit?
I can, yeah. We'll make it, what are we at, 4 now? Or 5? Well, let's do the IA as 4 and then we'll do this one as 5.
This one is fine, okay. Go.
You mean
Integrity, thank you. I'll get it right eventually. Let's play through all of it. Officer Vickery, was that the same video that you recall seeing prior to writing your R&R report?
RTR report, yes,
RTR
sir.
report, excuse me. Thank you.
The attorneys play the parking lot dashcam video in the deposition room. They ask Vickery to confirm what he sees. He confirms that Borisate pushed Martinez's head toward the ground. He confirms he has not spoken to Borisate about the incident since leaving the Sally Port on April 27th. He confirms that Borisate is no longer employed by JSO. He is asked if the video is still difficult to watch. He says it brings back memories. He does not say yes. That answer, 4 years later, in a federal lawsuit under oath, brings back memories, tells you a great deal about where the weight of this case eventually landed. Not on Vickery, not on Sergeant Weeks, not on PIC Garriott, who never showed up at scores, not on the integrity detectives who spent part of a criminal investigation reassuring a witness that the outside world doesn't have the courage to do what they do. The weight landed almost entirely on Akinyemi Borisate, who lost his job, who pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor, whose criminal record was subsequently expunged.
Okay. In that video that we just witnessed, you see multiple strikes, and did you see when Officer Borisati took her head and put it into the pavement?
Yeah, I saw when he pushed it towards the ground, yeah.
Okay. Have you spoken with Officer Borisati about this incident since you left the Sallyport on the 27th of April 2016?
I've seen him out and about, but I haven't spoken with him about the incident.
I think during your interview with Detective Cayenne, you said that you disagreed with the officer's Borisati's actions on that day. Do you still disagree with his actions on that day? Well, let me ask you this. Is the video still difficult to watch?
Brings back memories, but it's fine.
Did you notice how many strikes there were in the video?
I didn't count them.
Did you see Miss Martinez try to bite anybody in that video?
I couldn't see from that if she was trying to bite.
You could hear Miss Martinez say some things as she was on the ground. Or could you hear Miss Martinez say some things as she was on the ground?
Yes.
Remember what she was saying?
Sounded like I didn't do anything to you.
Okay. Could you hear either yourself or Officer Borisati make any demands?
I could not over her yelling no.
And I think you may have testified to this earlier, but do you have any independent recollection of Officer Borisati saying anything during the arrest or at the time shown in this video?
I do not. No independent.
Is Officer Borisati employed at JSO still?
No.
Other than Detective Cayenne, did you speak with anybody else in Integrity about this incident?
Detective Green was there, but no. I haven't spoken with anybody else since.
Just the recorded interview?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Did you do, we've talked about the arrest and booking report and your RTR report. Was there any report that you filled out for the Integrity unit?
No, there's no report with that.
So no
Strictly
written
the video.
report?
No, strictly the video.
And just so we're on the same page, you did not witness Officer Borisati strike Miss Martinez at the pretrial detention facility?
I did not see that.
Okay. I don't think I have any further questions at this time.
We are back on the record at 2:38.
Officer Vickery, I just have a few questions for you. When Miss Martinez was arrested on April 27th, 2016, you had asked her if she was injured, and she told you no?
That's correct.
And did you believe that she had been injured?
I didn't see any signs of any injury on here, so I didn't believe she was.
And so, based on your observations and your questions to Ms. Martinez, under JSO policy, were you required to fill out an RTR report within 24 hours at that time?
Now knowing that, no, I'm not required to, unless there is injury or someone complains of injury.
If I could ask you to look at Exhibit 1, grab it from the pile of the catalog.
Sorry, just be on the bottom. Okay.
And at the beginning of your depot, you told us you were dispatched to a Signal 63
That's correct.
dispute.
Yes, sir.
Did you receive any other information about the call as you were traveling to the call?
So in the call log, it says the complainant versed Signal 2/73, which would be a person on drugs, employee refusing to leave. So it actually says the employee was drunk or on drugs and was refusing to leave.
And was that information that was reported to the dispatcher from Scores?
Correct.
And were you given that information on your way to the scene?
Yes, in the call, the dispatch screen that we get when we're dispatched, so prior to arriving on scene, that was what was in there.
So on your way to the Scores, you were told that the dispute was the complainant versus a person who was either intoxicated or on drugs, an employee who was refusing to leave the business?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, we sat through the integrity interview, and I want to play a short portion of it because I think something was lost in the video. So I'm going to play the video starting at around 15 minutes into the video.
I gave her, I handcuffed her on her left arm, and we began to struggle. He struggled getting her right arm behind her back. He then grabbed her around her waist and said, "Hold on, I got this," was one thing Officer Borisati said to me, and grabbed her around her waist and was able to take her to the ground.
Okay.
So we're able to get her to the ground, but at that time I lost control of her left hand, the one with the handcuff still on.
Gotcha.
And so my first thought was to get that.
Let me stop you real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when you say you lost control of that one handcuff, so that means she was able to.
She was swinging.
And so she was actually swinging the handcuff as a weapon, or.
So when you were interviewed by Detective Kyan, who brought up the fact that she was swinging first?
On the video, I said that first. I said swing first.
And is that because that's what you recalled?
At the time, yes.
On April 27th, 2016, how much did you weigh?
About the same as I do now, about 162, 163.
And how tall are you?
5'10".
Okay, that's all I have.
I've got one follow-up.
Well, you want to see if the guys on the phone have any?
Oh, sure. That's right.
Anybody on the phone have any questions?
None from this end. Phone Cologne.
Okay. Is anybody for Mr. Borisati on the line?
No, they are on.
Okay.
Just one follow-up question. I believe you were just shown this, the CAD log.
Yes, sir.
And I believe it said some information about the employee refusing to leave. Does it say why she refused to leave?
It does not.
When did you learn of the reasons why she... Well, let me ask you this. When you arrived at the scene, were you made aware that Scores was in possession of Miss Martinez's personal items?
At some point while I was on scene.
No further questions.
We'll read it.
Actually, I apologize. I did have just one quick question.
Okay.
This is Sean Cologne, and I represent Health Bureau. I just have just one question. I know there was a lot of information today, but it sounded like, and this is going to be my question, have any information about what took place before you arrived?
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt, but would you start the question again? You're breaking up.
I didn't touch it.
He's still in there.
You still there?
Yes, okay, you guys can still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, I thought I got disconnected. But the question is, I know that you arrived after being called by dispatch. I was wondering, did you have any details or information about what took place in the club before you arrived?
You're still breaking up. Did I have any information about what again, please?
Any information regarding what took place in the club before you arrived?
No, before I arrived, no.
And are you familiar at all with Scores or policy?
I'm sorry, are you familiar at all with...
With the procedures or policy for Scores with trespassing?
Procedure or policy for Scores as it relates to trespassing?
Yes, exactly.
No, I am not.
Okay, then yes, no further questions.
That concludes the deposition. It is 2:45.
Here's where this case stands. Myra Martinez received a settlement of $92,500. Sheriff Mike Williams issued a public apology and acknowledged on the record that what occurred in the Sallyport was not just a policy violation, it was a violation of the law. Officer Akinyemi Borisati was fired and charged with misdemeanor battery. He pleaded no contest. Adjudication was withheld. His record was expunged. He has no criminal conviction. He was, at the time this documentary was written, legally eligible to be hired as a police officer by another agency in Florida. Officer Nathan Vickery was never charged, never formally disciplined, and remained employed by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Sergeant Weeks was never disciplined. The Integrity Unit detectives who conducted the interview you watched were never disciplined. Scores, the Gentlemen's Club, was also named as a defendant in the lawsuit. Martinez received 12 months of probation and 50 hours of community service after pleading guilty to 1 count of resisting an officer. She suffered a concussion, nerve damage, 6 disc injuries, and PTSD. The officer who knocked her unconscious has no criminal record. These are the facts of this case as they exist in the public record. Make of them what you will and tell us what you think in the comments below.